retirement.
The average public servant in Canberra is now paid close to $115,000, and the gap between male and female pay for government workers has all but closed. But the State of the Service report has found nationwide and across all industries, women are paid 11.5% less than men. A long-term Australian study has found the earlier a teenager drinks alcohol, the higher the risk of alcohol abuse. The research followed more than 900 teens over a decade and found the risk was elevated regardless of how much alcohol was consumed. National Drug and Alcohol Research Centre's Associate Professor Amy Peacock says prevention and early intervention are key.
More broadly across Australia, we're seeing that many young people are starting to drink later and to drink at lower amounts, but we still know that alcohol is one of the key drivers of harm in this age group.
Neil Diamond has made a surprise appearance on stage in Denver. He stepped away from the spotlight after announcing he had Parkinson's in 2018. During a charity ball, he performed one of his biggest hits. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a good morning to you as well, Mel. Isn't he one of the best, Neil Diamond? Love him. Well, little more than 36 hours until the trade period is complete. There's still no deal done to get Callum Archie from Brisbane to Adelaide. Sydney is still chasing Charlie Curnow, who was in town yesterday, although he admits there's still a bit of water to go under the bridge for a deal to get done there. Other big names looking to find other clubs include Christian Petrarca and Clayton Oliver. Well, former England skipper Joe Root is shouldering the responsibility for his team's success or failure in the upcoming Ashes. Root is chasing his first century on Australian soil, with Perth hosting the series opener in 38 days. He's told Sky Sports UK he's now unbridled by the pressure of captaincy.
I know that if I'm scoring heavily and I'm making big contributions with the bat, then that gives us a better chance. So, I feel like I'm in a different place to the last time I went out there as a player. I haven't got the responsibility of captaincy. I'm a lot more experienced. I've had a good couple of years coming into this series.
Meantime, India needs a further 58 runs to win the second test against the West Indies in Delhi after the visitors showed some fight on day 4, making 390 in their second innings thanks to centuries from John Campbell and Shai Hope. But the home side reached 1 for 63 at stumps as they looked to chase down the target of 121. And there was one game in the Women's ODI World Cup overnight with South Africa 3-wicket winners against Bangladesh. And in some tennis news to finish, Alexei Poprin, the Aussie, has gone down to American Sebastian Korda. In the round of 32 at the Stockholm Open, he went down in 3 sets. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast, and we're heading for a top of 21 today with a possible morning shower. Sunny tomorrow, 29. Thursday, a possible thunderstorm, 28. And back to 21 on Friday, partly cloudy. Right now, it's 12 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hi, it's Tom Burlinson here. Looking forward to returning to the gorgeous Capri Theatre in Goodwood, this time with a marvellous orchestra, in my show, Swingin' the Great Standards. There'll be songs and stories of the greatest composers and lyricists of the Great American Songbook, and more modern, much-loved hits. Come to the Capri for Swing with Strings in Swingin' the Great Standards on Friday the 7th of November. Hope to see you there.
Look at all this stock. All of it has to go. Go, go, go. At all TJM stores nationwide. It's TJM's national car park sale. Bull bars, rooftop tents, suspension kits, camping gear. Prices slashed. We're talking select canopies from just $1,999 and rock slider and bull bar bundles starting at $1,600. These deals are in-store only. And when they're gone, they're gone, gone, gone. Get down to your local TJM store nationwide. 17th and 18th of October.
TJM.
Take the lead.
Life is full of changes, and changes need space. At Roomia, we understand big transitions. That's why we offer modern, flexible and secure storage. Short or long term, no sign-up fees, no lock-in contracts. This week only, get up to 50% off 3-month storage. And with a free move-in van, we make your move simple. Get a quote this week and save up to 50% for 3 months. Find Roomia Self-Storage at St Mary's, Beverley and Seaford. Visit roomia.com.au.
If you're in South Australia, you can get $200 off when you take out a new NRMA Home Buildings Insurance policy with promo code 200HOME. Because that's what a help company would do. Visit nrma.com.au/SA offer or call 132 132 to redeem today. Offer ends January 9th, 2026. Excludes renewing policies. South Australia risk addresses only. Full offer T's and C's online. Always read the PDS. PDS and TMDs available from NRMA Insurance.
What was that? Oh, I know you're out here somewhere. Where are you?
Searching for a better night's sleep? For over 30 years, Town & Country Mattresses and Beds have helped South Aussies sleep better with custom-made mattresses and electric beds. As an aged care and NDIS provider, they specialise in high-low and electric beds. Find your better night's sleep at Town & Country Mattresses and Beds, 68 Research Road, Paraka.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
Live from Hindmarsh Square, it's FIVEAA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6:09, good morning to you and welcome to a Tuesday on FIVEAA Breakfast, the 14th of October. How are our hay fever sufferers going? We're being warned there's a particularly active pollen season that's expected. Is it already titillating your nose buds? Let us know. We're going to be chatting with the head of the Asthma Australia group, Nigel Cooper, very shortly for some tips and tricks. You can try and avoid it or mitigate the worst of it. After 6:30, huge story yesterday in federal politics. The superannuation changes, much vaunted, much fought for by the Treasurer, Jim Chalmers, before the election, have been scrapped entirely to the standard that I think everyone who'd raised a qualm about it had asked for. The federal opposition, Paul Keating and others, had said a failure to index that new rate for super balances over $3 million and the taxation of unrealised gains were ridiculous. Belatedly, it would appear, at very least, the Prime Minister has agreed, and that's where the politics gets intriguing on that story. We'll talk about it after 6:30. The biggest news of the day, of course, is the return of Budgie Fest this month. Budgie Fest returns. David Penberthy, an honorary former judge, of course, of that esteemed event. And then a little bit later in the morning, we'll be chatting with the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens, with the big news late yesterday that the search for Gus Lamont in Yunta has resumed. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I don't know if that was what the psychologists call auto-suggestion, but as you started talking about pollen and asthma, I felt this irresistible urge to sneeze.
Yeah, you did. You reached for the tissue.
So I'm trying to hold it together here. But yeah, no, big news, obviously. Not quite the biggest story in the world right now, but it is good news that Budgie Fest is back for 2026. Been overshadowed somewhat by other events overnight. But you need things like Budgie Fest. You need things like Budgie Fest to keep you sane. Did you have a budgie, Will? Did you ever own a budgie?
No, I never owned a budgie. And next door neighbours had a budgie. I used to spend a little bit of time around there.
Yeah, Grandma Penn, she had a budgie called Sparky. My sister Beck had a budgie for a long time called Buddy.
You're a big budgie guy.
No, I'm not. I never owned one. Not personally. I was more of a larger bird fancier. We had a Corella called Jake. We had two cockatiels as well, but never the budgie. But as I just alluded to, though, there are much bigger stories in the world today.
You made that point well.
I did.
And there are. And I think if you haven't seen them already on TV screens this morning, you will throughout the day. The remarkable scenes of 20 living hostages being returned to their families in Israel. I'll tell you what, it redefines how you understand human happiness to see the looks, the sounds, the way in which these family members are embracing people that they genuinely thought they would never, ever see again. It's remarkable. It's remarkable imagery. Hannah Sinclair is there in Tel Aviv covering it all for 9 News. Hannah, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're great, thanks, Hannah. As Will was just alluding to, though, this for these families and for the partners of the people who are married in relationships who vanished 2 years ago, it must almost feel like they're back from the dead.
Yeah, those pictures, they're just truly extraordinary, aren't they? Heartwarming reunions of those families who have been separated for 737 days, more than 2 years, such a long time for them to be in captivity in Gaza, but now finally free, those hostages brought back to Israel, landing via choppers at hospitals. They are now obviously being checked over by medical teams, but a lot of them did look to be in quite good condition. They were, walking to the vehicles. They walked off the plane. I saw a couple of them at the hospital, and they were waving out of the window to crowds, obviously in good spirits now that they are free. So that was certainly uplifting to see. And look, right now, the bodies of 4 hostages are being transferred by Israeli forces. They've just crossed into the border and they are in Israel now. They are on their way to be formally identified. But Hamas has said they were only going to release 4 bodies today because they are having trouble locating all of the remains. That was met by outrage by the families, and Israel certainly not happy with that, saying that, they've violated the deal by only releasing 4. There's 28 said to be dead in Gaza. So the families still waiting for the bodies of their loved ones to come home. That is still unfolding while we have these heartwarming reunions of the ones who are still alive. And in all of that as well, hundreds of Palestinian detainees have also been freed by Israel, taken on buses back home to Gaza and the West Bank. And there have been huge crowds out there and reunions with their loved ones.
Just in terms of the actual detail about the hostages last, few months in particular leading up to today, none of them have actually spoken yet because they're all getting proper medical assessments. So we don't actually have any insight into the precise nature of the conditions they were living under, do we?
Oh, well, we've obviously heard from the other hostages who have been freed, like in January. Some of those survivors, a lot of those survivors have spoken publicly. But no, the ones that have just come out today, literally hours ago, no, we haven't heard from them yet. They're obviously going to be, focusing on reuniting with their families, focusing on healing and their health. And, I know the medical teams at the hospitals were very much focused on as well, ensuring that they had psychological assessments, making sure that their mental health was okay and being treated accordingly, given what they have been through, given the fact that they were in captivity for more than 2 years in these tunnels held by Hamas. That certainly takes a toll on people mentally. So there's still a lot for them to work through, but a new journey beginning today. And
Hannah, I was going to go to bed last night, starting early for radio, and when Donald Trump got up to address the Israeli Parliament, the Knesset, I thought I'm going to catch a bit of this. This is historic stuff. I was still in front of the television 45 minutes later. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, it weren't more than an hour and 5 minutes, I think, is the exact length of that speech. It covered a lot, didn't it? But no, he certainly received a very warm welcome here in Israel. I was at the airport as he landed this morning here, and they rolled out the red carpet for him, had the ceremony, welcoming ceremony, and then him and Benjamin Netanyahu, they jumped in the beast and off they went up to Jerusalem for that speech at the Knesset for him to meet with those hostage families. And, he obviously wanted to be here for this moment. He's the one that was really at the centre of all of this. They absolutely love him here, the Israelis. They've, been chanting "Thank you, Trump" at Hostages Square the other night at a rally at Hostages Square. So, he definitely had a hero's welcome when he arrived.
Hannah Sinclair for 9 News in Tel Aviv. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. I was going to text you last night. I was worried you'd gone to bed, but I thought, I wonder if Will is in the same quandary I'm in of starting to watch.
No, I watched a bit of it this morning, but I didn't watch it last night. He got multiple standing ovations, and there was a protest, and
it was
all sorts
so
was happening.
Typically Trump. Like, it was half of it was just jaw-droppingly historic. The other half sounded like an Oscar acceptance speech or Johnny Carson. Yeah, I want to shout out to Steve.
Yeah.
Is there a guy, if you're ever going to cut a deal, you got to get Steve to do it? You're my guy. Like, I was sitting there going, like, there's something sort of amazingly profound and also completely sort of almost Rodney Dangerfield-esque about it.
Yeah, he does shtick.
Yeah.
He does shtick at
Come on,
major
baby.
historic events.
Baby, you can be a nice guy now. I know you're a nice guy. The war is over. Like, that's what he actually said at one point. Like, I was thinking, how do you even edit the highlights out of this?
Yeah.
Because some of these sentences, they're dancing in the streets in every country in the world. They're dancing in the streets.
And it requires no reminder, but he's at the conclusion of one of the bloodiest conflicts in modern history.
I know. It's like just the sort of gravitas isn't the word for him.
No.
It's just talking about he did a lot of deals in real estate. Now he's done this one. It's just amazing. There's never been anyone like him in history.
Maybe that's why it worked. Well, for now, anyway. Let's hope it holds.
Let's hope it does. But
Yeah,
I'll tell
we're
you
all cheering
what,
for it to hold.
it did more to get Hamas to the table, to give up the hostages and give up their weapons than 2 years of saying, oh, it's complicated. And Israel, can you stop being so hostile towards these people who killed, 1,300
You can't knock it.
civilians?
Bill Clinton put out a glowing statement this morning.
Yeah.
Saying...
Representing a more pragmatic and sensible old stream of the Democrats.
Completely.
Yeah.
Hey, we've got Lucky Dumpling Market food and beverage vouchers to give away this morning. Taste the flavours of Asia at the Lucky Dumpling Market, Adelaide's springtime food and entertainment hub, 17th of October, 9th of November. Visit luckydumplingmarket.com. We were doing a bit of research about when Year 12 exams start. It is this week. It starts with this Thursday morning. There's German, there's Japanese, Auslan. It all begins this week for Year 12 exams. But there is this little curio at the top of the exam timetable, which has the date and time the exams start in all the places where presumably students are sitting SACE, the South Australian exams this year. So this starts at 9 a.m. in South Australia, 8 a.m. in the Northern Territory. This is for the early section. In China and Malaysia, 7:30 a.m. In Sri Lanka, 7 a.m. In Vietnam, 7 a.m. In New Caledonia and Vanuatu, 9:30 a.m. So presumably there must be children who are sitting them overseas. They've done part of the year here or all of the year here, and they've gone back and they're sitting them in their home country, possibly. Could you imagine being in a tropical paradise like Vanuatu and having to do your Year 12 exams?
Yeah, that'd suck, wouldn't it?
For the Lucky Dumpling Market food and beverage voucher this morning, what's the worst place on earth to sit a Year 12 exam? And our mind immediately went to, this is kind of a coded question for what are the best places on earth.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But you might think, we open it up as always to your creativity, folks. You may think you did sit an exam once upon a time in the worst place on earth. What would be the worst place to sit an exam?
Where did you do
either
yours?
real or imagined? 8223 0000. I did it in a gym, I think, like most people.
Yeah, we did
in a
ours
big
in the
gymnasium.
school hall at Marion High, the Cosgrove Hall. I remember being really, really super nervous, which is good. You should be.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I went in there thinking, right. Because back in my day, young man, it was, I think it was 80% of the year came down to the exam.
I would have loved that. That would have been great.
Yeah, I liked it. Oh, actually, not for biology. 66%, not good.
21 after 6, Lucky Dumpling Market's up for grabs. Worst place to sit an exam. 8223 0000. Let us know. You can text us on the Police Home Care text line.
At Coles, glow up and show up with great half-price cosmetics. Like half-price L'Oreal Paris Panorama Mascara, 9.9 mil, now just $16.50. Shop in-store or online at Coles. Offer ends Tuesday.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
PuraTap just made it easier to get your filters changed with the new EasyFit 2300. Upgrade now to the latest innovation in water purification, the new EasyFit 2300. This water filter makes your life easier with fast installation and a contact-free filter change option. You don't even need to be home. PuraTap's easy now. EasyFit 2300. Find out how to get yours. Call 133 502 or go to puratap.com. T's and C's apply.
The RAA Beta Birdwood is just around the corner. This Sunday, a classic in every sense. This historic parade is a well-oiled tradition on South Australia's event calendar.
Over 1,500 historic vehicles will take to the streets in a celebration of SA's proud motoring history. And who better to support this iconic event than RAA? From the rise of Holden to the electronic age, RAA have seen it all.
Be part of the atmosphere by heading to the Finnish Festival at the National Motor Museum in Birdwood. RAA members can even save 20% on tickets, so buy yours online today.
The RAA Bay to Birdwood this Sunday, October 19. All thanks to RAA. It's better to be a member. T's and C's apply. Available from RAA.
The Garrett Adelaide Jamboree is back at the Bend, a turbocharged drag racing and car show festival with free kids entertainment this Saturday at Dragway at the Bend. Tickets and event info at jamboree.com.au.
Are you aged 18 to 65 and generally healthy? Here's your chance to make an impact in medical research. Participate in a CMAX clinical trial for a potential type 2 diabetes treatment. By taking part, you'll spend 11 nights at CMAX in Adelaide CBD, attend one follow-up visit, and get paid for your time. Your involvement could help bring hope to over 1 million Australians living with diabetes. Interested in joining? Apply today at cmax.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes after 6, Mark texted us on the Police Home Care text line to start the program, as we mentioned that we're going to be talking about hay fever, and said, hay fever worse than it's ever been, constantly sneezing. Blew my brains out yesterday. Mark, we're sorry to hear that, but it does sound as though, and I think the turn of phrase is a more active pollen season we have before us than we have had in recent years. Nigel Cooper's right across this from the Asthma Australia group here in South Australia. Nigel, good morning to you.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
So what do we mean? Yeah, well, what do we mean by a more active pollen season?
Well, what we've found for this winter is that we've had so much rain. Once we have a lot of rain in winter, what that does, it sets off all the pollen grass, all the grasses, in particular rye grasses. So what we're predicting this year is that the grasses are going to grow incredibly well as we go into spring and even into summer, and then all the pollen from those will be released into the air. So this year, we think it's going to be above average in the sense of pollen levels, which obviously impact people with asthma and with hay fever.
And what is there any sort of preventative, permanent sort of preventative thing that can be done about it, Nigel? Because you hear people sort of responding and saying, I got to get some Claritine or whatever. But is there a way of pollen proofing yourself?
Look, kind of. I mean, pollen's really hard because the grains are really small. They get picked up with the wind. So once you've got your car windows open or you've got your house windows open, the pollen can come in, and it can also stick to your washing if you hang your washing outside on a high pollen count day. So there are some simple steps you can do. In the sense of your home, when the pollen count is high, for example, you can check the Air Rater app and see what your pollen count is. So if the pollen count is high, don't put your washing outside. Close your house up with your windows and doors. Use your air conditioning on recirculate in the car, in your home. Keep your windows up in your car as well. So do things like that and avoid going outside and exercising on high pollen count days if you can. And also, there's also things like medications that you can take. So things like antihistamines, nasal steroids certainly make a big difference. And you can also just use a saline mixture and do like an irrigation. And that is really effective in washing out all the sinuses and getting rid of all the pollens and also built up mucus. And then there's also the asthma component, because we know that 80% of people with asthma also get hay fever. So it's really important for people with asthma that they look at what's going on right now. So check their asthma action plan, take your preventers, keep your reliever medication on you at all times. And once again, check the Air Rater app, for example, and if the pollen count is high, maybe reconsider exercising or going out if you don't have to.
What's the latest data tell us, Nigel, about how prevalent the number of people that suffer from hay fever is? Is it growing? Is it diminishing? How does that shape up?
Look, as far as I'm aware, it's pretty well staying as it is. And South Australia is really known as a high allergy state. And we think that's also because we have a lot of farmland and a lot of grass and a lot of open areas. So South Australia is particularly impacted by hay fever. And like I said, surprisingly, what I think is really surprising with stats is that people don't think asthma and hay fever go together, but they do. And we also know that people who do have asthma and hay fever, if their hay fever is out of control, it's an indicator that their asthma is as well or about to. So this is why it's really important to get prepared right now for your hay fever and your asthma.
It's great advice, Nigel. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks,
Nigel
Nigel.
Cooper, the SA Director of Asthma Australia. Let's take some calls, shall we, on worst places to take a Year 12 exam. Sandy in Westlakes, good morning.
Oh, good morning. You young gentlemen, you wouldn't know about this. But back in my day, 100% of the final results were on the exam.
100. Fantastic.
All at Wayville in Centennial Hall and did our exam. And I had an exam for shorthand there, 120 words a minute, echoing all around the hall. We had to write that shorthand at 120 words a minute and transcribe it for our final exam.
Oh, wow.
In Centennial Hall.
Were you
guys,
learning...
you don't know you're alive. You really don't.
That's one hell of a backdrop.
Was it Pittman shorthand, Sandy?
It was Pittman. It was.
Good stuff, Sandy. Thank you. Let's go to Clearview. Rob, good morning.
Hey, guys. After your NAPLAN results, would you be game enough to do a Year 12 question or not?
Yeah, we failed Year 7, so we'll get there eventually.
Look, I'm going for the low-hanging fruit, man, because I'm on my way into the RH now. Let's do it on the ramp there. No one's going to disturb for a few hours. You've got some clear time there. I can go get the desk ready.
Yeah.
Peace and quiet.
Yeah, you might be in an advanced state of physical distress, but at very least you could do it without being interrupted.
And you got a nice reclining seat for the reading time.
Indeed. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. 36 hours to go. Still no trades for Calamachi. So on it goes, the ticking trade period, and we wait for the big names like Charlie Curnow. It's doing what it always does, going down to the wire. But the other little bit of news this morning, as people are waking up, we've got 48 teams in the World Cup next year for the Soccer World Cup or the Football World Cup. Cape Verde, who is the second smallest nation ever by way of population, has qualified for the World Cup.
Are you joking?
525,000 people.
What? How cool.
They've beaten Eswatini 3-0 to qualify in their group of African qualifying. So
there might be a few more of these now that they've bumped up the size of round one.
Spot on.
But it's good, though.
It's good. I think it's a good thing, yeah. So
I read yesterday, was it the Faroe Islands or so? There's some tiny country that's still in the hunt?
Yeah, they beat Czechia. They beat Czech Republic, who are a pretty proud footballing nation.
Yeah, totally.
And Faroe Islands have a total population of 55,000 people.
I think the smallest ever to have qualified, I just mentioned Cape Verde, 525,000, is Iceland. They did it in 2018, and they're actually 1-0 up at the moment.
And they beat England too.
Against France. Yeah,
remember that game?
That's right.
That happened live on our show, I reckon.
Yeah,
Iceland beat
possibly.
England.
Well, the time difference was perfect for it.
Yeah.
They're great stories, aren't they?
They're good
what would
stories.
it mean to those countries? Could you imagine?
It's massive, isn't it? You know, it's transformational, isn't it?
I would be surprised if Cape Verde's GDP was smaller than what Real Madrid is worth. It's worth actually checking that out.
Yeah, probably
some
is.
of these countries are so tiny. They're smaller than Microsoft. They're smaller than all sorts of mainstream companies.
Well, it's only 500,000 people. I mean, what's that? A third of the size of Adelaide. It's tiny.
Yeah.
You know.
Cape Verde.
Good on you, Rennie.
Good on you, boys.
Go
Great
Cape
stuff.
Verde.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible morning shower in 21 today with the 6:30 news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
For the best price, quality and same-day service, trust Complete Windscreens. RAA approved, Main North Road, Prospect.
For the first time in 738 days, all living Israeli hostages have been reunited with their families on what's been an historic day in the Middle East. More from Hannah Sinclair.
The hostage release still unfolding this morning. The bodies of 4 hostages have now been transferred to Israeli forces and they are on their way to Israel. Hamas saying it would only be releasing 4 dead hostages today, indicating that the recovery of all bodies may take some time as not all burial sites are known. A truly historic day here in the Middle East. The peace summit in Egypt has just finished. Donald Trump meeting with other world leaders for a signing ceremony for the Gaza peace deal. The US president saying the ceasefire will hold up and that this is an incredible day for the world, claiming the deal is so big it will avert a third world war. Donald Trump now on board Air Force One, set to head home to the United States for the 20 Israeli hostages still alive who are now home. There have been heartwarming reunions. There have been huge crowds and reunions in Gaza and the West Bank too, as hundreds of Palestinian detainees were freed by Israel. And here at Hostages Square, the celebrations are continuing.
A fresh search for Gus Lamont is ramping up this morning. The 4-year-old vanished on September 27 on a remote property near Yunta. This search, comprising up to 100 police officers and defence personnel, will cover an extended area, but it is being treated as a recovery mission. Australia Post is gearing up for the festive season with more electric delivery vehicles. There'll be a new fleet of 500 rolled out nationwide. SA locations include Camden Park, Modbury North, Gawler, Glynde and Lonsdale. The delivery vehicles have a 400% increase in parcel capacity compared to a motorbike. Well, it's a big day for actress Naomi Watts. She's been awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Naomi crediting director David Lynch with giving her big break in the US, casting her in Mulholland Drive.
For months I've been going into those castings where I could barely get eye contact or a handshake. This was different. This director was looking me in the eye and beaming. He brought out the absolute best in me, and he saw things in me I'd never seen in myself.
And the Taylor Swift juggernaut continues. She's announced a new concert film and documentary series to screen on Disney Plus starting December 12. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Charlie Curnow has completed a tour of Sydney's facilities alongside Swans coach Dan Cox. Carlton is waiting on an offer for the forward. Swans duo Ollie Florent and Will Haywood could be part of that deal. Meantime, the Crows are still refusing to budge on an offer to give up pick 16 for Brisbane forward Callum Archie. Meantime, Hawthorn will need to increase its offer for Zach Merritt. The Hawks have reportedly put a line through trading young gun Cam McKenzie for the Essendon captain. Bombers great Matthew Lloyd telling the Trade Off podcast the Hawks need to up their offer.
My mail is that Hawthorn haven't presented anything close enough for the Bombers to consider. So they'd want to change that soon.
And dual Norm Smith medal winner Will Ashcroft has signed a contract extension, keeping him at Brisbane until 2030. Well, the Socceroos are gearing up to take on Team USA tomorrow, with the new skipper looking to ensure cool heads prevail. Much was made of the fiery performance against Canada, where the Aussies went toe-to-toe with the hosts. Serie A defender and Australian captain Alessandro Ciccardi says they need to keep their heads when the game gets tense.
There was a bit of heat and a bit of heads were, starting to get, a bit fiery. But no, in that sense, we just had to stay calm. If they were quite aggressive and we were as well, and that's part of the game.
That match to be played tomorrow morning, our time. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast. A possible morning shower, 21 for your Tuesday. Sunny tomorrow, 29. Thursday, a possible thunderstorm, 28. And Friday, partly cloudy, 21. Right now, it's 12 degrees on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has a problem. Too many Volkswagens, not enough space. Yep, they're overstocked, and that's very good news for you, because every demo is priced to clear, like right now. Their solution? A huge demo clearance with hot prices. But that's not all. They're offering immediate delivery and finance so easy, you'll wonder why you didn't do this sooner. But don't wait. These demo Volkswagens won't sit around for long. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Just Quality are your SA family-owned home improvement experts. Now's the time to get your home ready for summer in our big spring sale with free installation across a range of products, including outdoor blinds, roller shutters, plantation shutters, pergolas, artificial turf, decking and roof restorations. If you want the best quality, you want Just Quality Home Improvements. To take advantage of this limited time offer, book a free assessment on our website or
Dial 1300 813 813.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 to 7, Cape Verde, the small islands west of Africa that have qualified for the World Cup, a population of just over 500,000 people. The GDP of Cape Verde is $2.77 billion. The corporate valuation of Real Madrid, so it's not apples and apples, but, for the sake of conversation, of Real Madrid, you asked, $6.75 billion.
Oh, really?
To put that in a South Australian context, our gross state product, which is the closest equivalent metric, about $130 billion. So
if you're a Russian oligarch and you wanted to buy Real Madrid and you had, I don't know, $6.7 billion in super, which Jim Chalmers would obviously be licking his lips at, that you could buy Real Madrid for about $6 billion. Or you could buy Cape Verde for 1/3 of that price.
You could certainly be the equivalent of their gross domestic product for that much. So in terms of footballing clubs, they're actually closer in size to Juventus, where Darren Burgess, of course, just recently left to pursue an opportunity. They are worth at about $2.8 billion. I wanted to get the AI to run a bit of an analysis for me because a 500,000 person population is small, but how many eligible footballers do you actually get from that number? So I got it to calculate from the population of Cape Verde, how many males are there between the ages of 17 and 40? There are 142,000. So essentially, they've had to pick a football side from not much larger from an AFL Grand Final crowd, and that group of 11 people has qualified for the World Cup. It's an amazing story.
That was like years ago. Germany played Gibraltar in a World Cup qualifier. It was that little promontory of rock still owned by the Brits in the south eastern corner of Spain. And the Gibraltar national team, most of them worked at the local fire station.
It's a great story.
I think they only lost 8-0 too, which is pretty reputable.
Yeah, not too bad at all.
From memory, well, I alluded deliberately to Treasurer Jim Chalmers before, who has performed a bit of a triple backflip with Pike overnight in relation to the superannuation changes. Now, I reckon if you gave the late Professor Stephen Hawking a copy of those changes and said, explain these in 100 words or less, he'd say, I'll get back to you in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to pretend to explain it, but we've got the Shadow Treasurer, Ted O'Brien, on the line. Maybe he's going to have a crack at that. Mr. O'Brien, good morning. It is hard to explain.
Morning, Will.
But there was to cut through all the wire about it, I think there was a general principle about this being an attack on reward. People had worked really hard all their lives, and the fact that it wasn't indexed, and the fact that you can't tax something that doesn't exist, which is what this tax on unrealised gains was going to do. What's your assessment of the backflip, and what do you think of the new proposals?
Well, I think the backflip is a welcomed move because Labor's plan was basically to tax profits that don't exist. So theoretical profits. So if you've got superannuation, you've got a balance there above 3 mil, and there's a company whose valuation goes up, you get no money in your bank account. You'll just start getting taxed. And so it really was going to be bad news for farmers who might have their land in a superannuation fund. Small business owners will sometimes have the building they operate from in their superannuation fund. So if the valuation of the land or the building went up, suddenly you've got to start paying the tax man, but you've got no cash. So what do? You just have to liquidate your assets. You have to go borrowing. And so this was just nuts. It was a breach of the tax law that Australia would never have seen. And so it was really dangerous. And then they said, we're not even going to index a threshold. So $3 million is a lot of money. But over time, you will see today's average income earner in their 20s, as time goes on, they'll be well over 3 mil. Sounds like a lot today, but, well, it won't be tomorrow. And so then you've got them going after younger Australians. And this just kills aspiration. I mean, we want Australians to get ahead, whereas this tax was really all about taking from hardworking Australians to feed the government's spending spree, because the government's spending more money, right? This federal government's spending more money than any government we've seen outside of pandemic for about 40 years. And the more it spends, the more it needs money from somewhere else. And it's doing two things. It's racking up debt, which will hit $1.2 trillion before the next election, and it's going after taxes. And so this plan of theirs was going after people's savings which they put in their superannuation accounts, and trying to get as much as they can, including taxing people for theoretical profits, which is the unrealised capital gains part.
If the indexation component of this was an attack on young people, does the same hold true then for the failure to index income tax brackets? And has the time come for a look at that?
Well, there's no doubt that income tax brackets are a problem, and the Coalition had planned to remove one of those. Labor put it back in. It's basically Labor's plan to secretly take money from people without them knowing about it. So if you look at the budget papers, if you're really that interested, what you'll see is Labor is planning at least a decade of deficits. And then suddenly, after about a decade, they bring in as much money as they're spending. And it's an enormous lift in money they're going to be bringing in. Where does it all come from? It comes from personal income taxes. And that is because of bracket creep. So the more money you earn, next year you earn a bit more money than you did this year. Well, you might creep into a higher tax bracket, so you get taxed more. And that is a problem. And it just means that Labor's only way back to a balanced budget is to increase personal income tax.
Well, then the execution of this, by all and sundry, was criticised. However, the impetus behind it sounds like a concept you agree with, and that's budget repair. It's about putting more money back in coffers. These changes will take money from the future of the budget. It will put it in a weaker position. Where would you like to see that come from, and how can that be made up now that it will be foregone as a result of this backflip?
So you're right. So this backflip creates about a $4.2 billion black hole in Labor's budget. What they're proposing now is to effectively rob Peter to pay Paul. What they should be looking at as a priority is two things. One, they should stop the spending spree. Just stop spending so much money because it's out of control. And the more they spend, the more they have to tax people or put it on the national credit card for the next generation. Number two, they should grow the economic pie. It's just the well-proven principle that if you can actually grow the economy, you lift all boats. But the economy at the moment isn't growing. Productivity, which is like people's living standards, they have dropped more in Australia than any other developed country. And that's because we are having to use more inputs to create the exact same amount of outputs in our economy. We're working harder for less. And this all comes down to government's economic policy settings. So there are two priorities: stop the spending spree, grow the economic pie.
Ted O'Brien, do you have any concerns conceptually about superannuation and the way it works at the moment, whereas as opposed from being a safety net for retirement, it's been seen as an investment vehicle by some?
Look, I think my main concern at the moment is that the Albanese government is trying to turn what has been a vehicle, like a system for Australians to save for their future, into a scheme for the government to go and get revenue. That's my main concern. The other issue I think we've had is multiple thresholds, complexities, uncertainties, even all of the talk now about the government's had this one bad plan on superannuation. They've now dropped it, which we welcome. On the same day, they're announcing another series of changes to superannuation. And so everyday Australians, they just want the confidence that if they're going to put their money away for the future, that governments aren't going to keep changing and changing and changing things. So I think that's the key issue. And then, of course, it's up to Australians to decide how they use their own money. And so long as they're following the rules of the game, it's up to them to decide if they want to invest, if they want to spend. There are certain rules around superannuation where you can't touch your own super for a period of time. Of course, the coalitions had policies in that regard saying, well, there are times when you should be able to access your superannuation. It's your money. It doesn't belong to government. And I think we have to remember that. People's superannuation money is not government money. It belongs to the people who earn it and save it. it's their money and they have the right to use it.
Ted O'Brien, the Shadow Treasurer and Deputy Leader of the Liberal Party, thank you for joining us.
30 minutes to 7. We're going to check traffic and come back with police and weather on 5AA Breakfast in just a moment. Help Australians way to access critical medicines by visiting strongerpbs.com.au for more information.
Thanks, Will, and morning, David. At Monopara, two-car crash getting cleaned up at the moment. Steppenheath Road near Dalkeith Road, but no great delays through there. Starting to build already. South Road Glandel for the tram overpass works and sluggish at Flinders Park, as it is always this time of the morning, for the ongoing intersection upgrade over Grange Road and Holbrooks Road. Cameras this morning, Burton Road, Paralawi, Montague Road at Cavan. October 30 is Canteen's Bandana Day. Buy yours now at bandanaday.org.au to show young people facing cancer they're not alone. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When it comes to reducing pain and rebuilding strength, Kiesa leaves nothing to chance. Our university-qualified health professionals don't just treat problem areas. They design personalised training programs using Swiss-engineered machines unique to Kiesa. These machines safely isolate the affected area, test your strength and help rebuild your muscles for a stronger, more active and healthier life. Kiesa, building strength with precision in Norwood.
Your old hot water system can drive as much as 40% of your energy bill. Fortunately, you can upgrade to something that's 70% cheaper to run thanks to Right Price. They're the leaders in heat pumps and installation. Now's the time to upgrade and save money on a more efficient hot water system and take advantage of government incentives and free installation. Reduce your energy costs today with a heat pump from Right Price. Make the switch with Right Price Hot Water.
At Right Price, heating and cooling, you can get the price right at Right Price.
Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip. From 1 to 9 yards across the Barossa, Clare and of course Gawler. You can get new and demo Ford Rangers in Clare, Mitsubishi Outlanders, Hyundai Hybrids and Mazda CX-5 in Nuriutpa, Jack Utes in Gawler, plus over 300 certified used vehicles in stock. Head to one of Steinborner's 9 locations or view the whole range at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
Our nurses and midwives are at breaking point. Every day we help South Australians through their most vulnerable moments. But right now we're being pushed to the limit with feelings of burnout, fatigue and being undervalued. Respectful wages and safe working conditions are about valuing us and also ensuring there are enough nurses and midwives to provide the care you deserve. Support those who care for you. Visit respectnursesandmidwives.com. Authorised by Elizabeth DeBars, ANMFSA, Lytton, South Australia.
The Phil Hoffman Travel Expo is back, Sunday, October 26th. It's the biggest and best travel event in Adelaide, hosted by Adelaide, with over 60 worldwide tour operators, cruise lines, airlines and travel experts. Enjoy inspiring travel talks, early bird discounts, one-day only deals, booking bonuses, including a glass of bubbles, plus win one of 5 incredible holiday prizes. The Phil Hoffman Travel Expo, Sunday, October 26th, Adelaide Convention Centre. Entry is free. Register at pht.com.au.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 minutes to 7. Let's head to the Weather Bureau for an update on the forecast for the week ahead. Hannah Marsh joins us. Morning to you, Hannah.
Good morning, Dave and Will.
How was Tuesday and the rest of the week looking?
Well, we've had a minimum of 11.1. We're currently sitting on at 12.4 degrees. And the Weather Watch radar is just showing a line of showers approaching Noarlunga at the moment, and that's associated with a cold front. We will see the chance of a spot or two, mainly about the hills and southern suburbs in the next hour or so, but then that should clear and the cloud should clear to a mostly sunny afternoon. We're looking at a maximum of 21 in the city, 22 at Elizabeth, 20 for Glenelg and Noarlunga, and 21 also at Mount Barker. But behind this cold front, we do have a high-pressure system that does move to the east. That directs the winds around to the north, and we see the maximum temperatures getting up to 29 degrees on Wednesday and 28 on Thursday. But we do have a trough that we're expecting to come through on Thursday that'll bring the chance of seeing a shower and also a possible thunderstorm as we head into the afternoon and evening period on Thursday. We'll also see the temperature drop back to 21 degrees for Friday. but another high-pressure system moves in pretty quickly behind. Temperatures start climbing again with 28 on Saturday and 31 on Sunday before we see another trough move through on Sunday and into Monday, bringing the return of some shower activity.
Good stuff, Hannah. Thank you for that. Hannah Marsh from the Weather Bureau. Let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee on the line. Holly, there's been a robbery at Salisbury Downs.
Yeah, good morning, Dave and Will. Great arrest from our Northern District members from overnight when at about 11:30 patrols were called to a service station on Salisbury Highway after reports man had entered the store and threatened the staff member and demanded some cigarettes. Fortunately, the staff member was not physically injured and the suspect left the area. Police were quickly in attendance, locating that man nearby at a bus stop, and the 36-year-old man from Adelaide was quickly arrested without incident and charged with commit theft using force. His bail has been refused, and it is expected he will appear in the Elizabeth Magistrates Court at a later stage.
Holly, also, there's been a truck rollover on Malala Road.
Yeah, so about 5 o'clock this morning, police and emergency crews responded to reports of a truck rollover on Malala Road, Kurunyi. Fortunately, the driver was not physically injured. Traffic and speed restrictions will be in place for several hours whilst the scene is cleared due to the crash occurring over the railway line. So it is causing a few issues out there for members this morning. So we're also asking anyone who may have witnessed that collision to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Good stuff, Holly. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee there from SAPOL.
Well, mark your calendars. Saturday the 25th of October from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Campbelltown Function Centre. Budgie Fest 2025 returns. I tell you what, this is a pretty spectacular event. Not only do you get to enjoy the wonderful budgies on offer or maybe show off your own, but also Hentley Farm provide the wines if you just want to, have a little bit of a tasting while you're enjoying all the budgie fare. The czar of budgie world in South Australia is our next guest, Troy Holmes. Troy, good morning to you.
Good morning, and can I just start by saying congratulations to you both on 10 years.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Troy. How many years has Budgie Fest been going?
3. This is our third.
Third, yeah, this is number 3 because I've been at the last 2. And Troy, one of the many things we love about you coming in is that you never come in alone.
I have brought with me 2 little friends here that are quite media savvy, I think. They're
very relaxed.
They are a little relaxed. They were a little noisier earlier.
They've been asleep on your hand. We were doing weather and police and they just sat there perched on your hand like, nothing's going on.
I think to get the show side of it, you want them pretty tame. So we spend a lot of time, just doing this kind of thing with 110 babies at the moment. So
oh, really?
It's a tough job.
110.
Yeah, we've got a fair few of them at the moment that are sitting there just coming out of the nest.
How do you get them to be calm? How do you teach a budgie just to relax?
It's interesting. I think budgies, just having them teaches you sort of tenderness and patience and care, and it's just literally this, just stroking them and patting them and getting them used to human interaction. So,
they really come to love people, don't they?
They do. They're very loyal. This one here is definitely the boss.
Right.
This one here has accidentally stepped on this one a couple of times, and if the reverse happens, he's not very happy with it. But,
do they live in the same cage, those 2?
These 2? They do. Yeah, in the same big aviary. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Are they husband and wife?
No, these 2 are only 6 weeks old.
Oh, really?
So these are preschoolers.
So how quickly they obviously come to be full size very, very quickly.
They do. These 2 guys have got until May next year. We have the national titles in May, and got, what do we got now? 8-9 months to get them ready, feed them up and get them looking pristine and making sure in a show cage is standing there saying, "Look at me, look at me."
You need a Budgie Fest Youth Olympics.
I do.
So for the juniors to go round.
We absolutely do.
Do you see a budgie, Troy, and go, this one could be a champion? Like, you'd have the ability from so long, owning budgies and being in competitions. You must see a budgie and go, that's got what it takes.
Absolutely. Yeah, from about 3 weeks old. So when you start looking at them and you're looking where the feather is growing out in certain areas around the cere and the physical size of the bird, the size of its feet, you're like, this is going to be a 7-foot basketballer.
Yeah, it's going to be like Messi being drafted to Madrid when he was 8 or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, you can definitely tell with them early, and it definitely gets you very excited because at that point sometimes you can't even tell what variety they're going to be, so you don't know which class they're going to compete in, but they're going to be a really good bird.
Now, mate, continuing the long and proud association of 5AA with Budgie Fest, you've got Will's dad, Graham, hosting a dinner to kick it off on the Friday night.
We have. We're telling the human stories behind budgerigars. So There's obviously budgies are a lot of fun, great interactivity, but I think these days in a world of distractions, you can choose your distraction.
Yeah.
And for me, it's budgies. There's a lot of people out there, you know, our national president is a firefighter, and there's days where he goes out and he's got to deal with some horrific things. And he'll come home from work and he'll say, I need an hour and a half, I need 2 hours in the bird room. And when you're fortunate enough to be able to do this and come back inside, you can be really present with your family. So we want to tell the human stories behind budgies. So
That's
not
a great
just,
idea.
Not just, you know, he's a great bird and, you know, won a national title or something, but what is it that keeps you going in budgies? You know, what is it that makes you want to care for these beautiful little creatures?
Well, I'm trying to remember the guy's name. Was it David, the lawyer, the English lawyer who came out last year, who was the budgie?
Richard Miller.
Richard Miller, sorry,
Yeah,
Richard
Dickie,
Miller.
you called him?
Dickie, that's right, Dickie. He's like a real gun barrister.
He is.
He's
yes.
like really high up in the legal world, but in his spare time, massive budgie enthusiast. So
It's incredible, all the different facets of the world that people come from to be involved in budgies. We've got guys here who are one of, you know, some of the big four accounting firms that are top of their grade in there, that are budgie enthusiasts. And you've got machinists who are working in a machine shop.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're all trying to buy budgies off them.
Well, it's the event that brings everyone together, regardless of what you do in your life. If you love budgies, you get to the Campbelltown Function Centre on Saturday, the 25th of October, between 12 and 3. Troy, great to have you in the studio. All the best with the event this year.
Thank you both for having me.
Good on you, Troy.
Is stress making your muscles tense and your nights restless? Caruso's new Super Magnesium plus Ashwagandha to the rescue. With 6 forms of magnesium, Caruso's Super Magnesium plus Ashwagandha supports muscle relaxation, relieves symptoms of stress and promotes deep sleep. So if you're tired of tense muscles and sleepless nights and can't wait for calm, comfort and peaceful relaxation, try Caruso's Super Magnesium plus Ashwagandha today. From leading pharmacies and health stores, always read the label and follow the directions for use. Trust FIVEAA, your local independent SA family liquor store, to recommend something a little fancy. Here's a very special label to look for, a true product of South Australia. This is a blend for all occasions with an impressive vintage of 50 years. And boy, hasn't it aged well. It comes from a special family too, and you'll find their name is proudly displayed for all to admire. It's FIVEAA, 3 generations celebrating 50 years. FIVEAA, your local independent SA family liquor store since 1975.
G'day, it's Fitzy here. You know what, I wish my kids would call me a legend, but the actual legends down south are Lamb Solar. South Australia has some of the most expensive electricity prices in the world, an unfortunate fact that Lamb couldn't accept. Lamb is a team of local champions who care about finding the best solar solution for your home. They're honest and they don't do the hard sales thing. So if you're thinking about solar, think LAMM, Lamb, the real legends of the South.
Are you or someone you know living with epilepsy? 1 in 25 Australians will develop epilepsy at some stage in their lives. The Epilepsy Centre in Adelaide is dedicated to raising awareness in the community to reduce the stigma and create a more welcoming and inclusive society. We do this by providing epilepsy awareness and seizure first aid to people living with epilepsy, their families and friends. Thanks to state government funding, we can offer this education at no cost. For more information, go to epilepsycentre.org.au.
Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has a problem. Too many Volkswagens, not enough space. Yep, they're overstocked, and that's very good news for you, because every demo is priced to clear, like right now. Their solution? A huge demo clearance with hot prices. But that's not all. They're offering immediate delivery and finance so easy, you'll wonder why you didn't do this sooner. But don't wait. These demo Volkswagens won't sit around for long. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible morning shower and 21 today with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Chipped windscreen? RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
There have been extraordinary scenes of joy and relief in the Middle East, where 20 remaining Israeli hostages have returned home in exchange for 2,000 Palestinians being freed. US President Donald Trump receiving a hero's welcome before signing a peace deal with world leaders in Egypt. Political scientist Simon Jackman says the real test will be seeing if the ceasefire holds.
So much, I think, depends on these countries that today are united in lauding Donald Trump. Are they going to stump up with hard yards now, putting boots on the ground to ensure the peace holds?
The search for Gus is resuming this morning. Up to 100 police officers and defence personnel will converge on the remote property near Yunta, where the 4-year-old vanished late last month. After reviewing all information, they're broadening the search area. It is being treated as a recovery mission, given Gus wandered off more than a fortnight ago. A service station has been held up at Salisbury Downs. Senior Constable Holly Frisbee says it happened around 11:30 last night.
A man had entered the store and threatened the staff member and demanded some cigarettes. Fortunately, the staff member was not physically injured and the suspect left the area.
The 36-year-old was picked up nearby and will front court at a later date. Well, the latest piece of the Algal Bloom Summer Plan has been announced. A further $16 million of support will go to the state's fishing and marine sector. The package will include additional grants of up to $275,000 per eligible business. Brittany Higgins is facing bankruptcy. Former Senator Linda Reynolds has launched federal court action to recover the more than $1 million awarded to her in defamation damages. She's also filed proceedings against Ms Higgins' husband, David Shiraz. Experts say there's still more work to do on underage drinking, despite a trend away from alcohol in younger generations. A long-term study by the National Drug and Alcohol Research Centre finding alcohol abuse is more likely among those who start drinking at 12 compared with those who wait until they're 18. Associate Professor Amy Peacock says the risk is elevated regardless of the amount of alcohol consumed.
Overwhelmingly, we do see that alcohol is one of the main drivers of harm. It contributes to injury, motor vehicle accidents, poorer mental health, but it also increases the risk for long-term chronic conditions.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. We're into the final 36 hours of the AFL trade period. The Crows' pursuit of premiership line Calamachi is still a work in progress, and time is running out for Hawthorn to poach Zach Merritt from Essendon. Well, Adam Gilchrist is urging selectors to back in Sam Constas. The 20-year-old battled for runs on the tour of the West Indies, passing 20 just once in 3 tests. The former captain says Constas should open the batting for the first Ashes test next month.
I would like to see them go and stay with Constas and say, we're going to back you in, youngster. We threw you in the fire last year. Then we took you out when you sort of had a bit of momentum and in Sri Lanka. And then they threw them back in there in West Indies in really tough conditions.
Meantime, there was one game at the Women's ODI World Cup overnight. South Africa, 3-wicket winners against Bangladesh. Well, tiny African nations Cape Verde, boasting a population of just 525,000 people, has qualified for next year's FIFA World Cup. They did so with a 3-0 win against fellow African side Eswatini. Meantime, it's approaching full-time in European World Cup qualifiers this morning. Only a few minutes to play in those games. Germany's currently 1-0 up against Northern Ireland, while Iceland and France are locked at 2-2. And the Seattle Mariners have taken a 1-0 lead in their best-of-7 American League Championship Series against the Toronto Blue Jays after winning Game 1 3-1. The two teams will play in Game 2 later this morning, while the National League Championship Series will also begin between the LA Dodgers and Milwaukee Brewers. The winner of those two series will play in the World Series. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Monopara, 2-car crash to look out for, Stephen Heath Road near Dalkeith Road. If you're out and around Mallala at the moment, there's a truck and semi-rollover to look out for, Mallala Road near Gordon Road. Busy already at Flinders Park for the ongoing intersection works of Grange Road and Holbrooks Road, and slow going South Road Glandorf for tram overpass works. Early morning camera, Trimmer Parade Seaton. Get the care you deserve at My Car Tyre and Auto. Visit mycar.com.au or call 13 13 28. My Car Tyre and Auto, people first. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, a possible morning shower, then a top of 21. Sunny tomorrow, 29. Thursday, a possible thunderstorm, 28. And back to 21 and partly cloudy on Friday. Right now, it's 13 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
In Adelaide and across South Australia, this is 5AA, always Adelaide.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 7, good morning to you. If you're joining us for the first time on this Tuesday, the 14th of October. It's a overcast start to the day, topsy-turvy week weather-wise. We might have storms, we might have temperatures over 30 degrees at least a couple of times between Wednesday and indeed Sunday, and maybe even a little drizzle of rain, albeit, as we've just heard from the Bureau, that's looking less and less likely with each passing hour. Coming up very shortly, we're off to Israel. You will see the most heartwarming images you're ever going to see in your life today when you watch vision of the 20 hostages being returned to their families. There is no joy like that on the face of someone who gets reunited with a family member who they thought they were genuinely never going to see again. 2 years separated. It is just remarkable. We're heading there very shortly. Also coming up on the program this hour, we'll head to the nation's capital. Phil Curry's going to join us. We spoke in the first hour about the superannuation backflip. There's that and plenty more going on in federal politics at the moment. Phil's got that covered. We're going to talk a bit of Beta Birdwood, and in an hour and a half, the police commissioner is going to join us on the program because this is intriguing. A development yesterday in the search for Gus Lamont in Yunta. Police and Defence Force personnel returning to the site of the original search to conduct a new search. Details scant, but we'll have more for you after 8:30.
Yeah, that's right. The Commissioner will be in the studio for his monthly catch-up. But for now, Samantha Hogan for 9 News is back in Yunta, where obviously the biggest story locally over the past fortnight has been the ongoing search, which police had to then subsequently declare a recovery effort about 8 days after this little boy disappeared. Samantha, though, is on the spot. Sam, good morning, and thank you for joining us. What is the latest from Yunta?
Good morning to you guys too. Look, we're currently on our way to the search site. It's about 40 kilometres from the town of Yunta here in the mid-north. Major crime detectives are now leading this investigation and will be joined by dozens of officers and also the Australian Defence Force today in what will be an expanded search for the 4-year-old. Little Gus vanished more than a fortnight ago now from his remote homestead on a sheep station there. Police had initially covered a 3-kilometre radius around the site, but new analysis of evidence, including from drone flyovers, has prompted them to extend that area further today. 9 News understands that up to 100 officers and ADF personnel will be searching over the course of the next days. Sadly, this is now a recovery mission to find Gus. Police also hoping to still uncover a possible direction he travelled in. Only one footprint was found from their initial search 8 days ago. Police still don't believe Gus's disappearance is suspicious at this stage, but major crime detectives have assured that they're still exploring all the possible scenarios. Police say that there continues to be close engagement with the Lamont family, who are continuing to assist with the investigation.
So is the search only happening within the confines of the family's property, Samantha?
Yes, that's how I understand it. 3 kilometres has been searched around that remote homestead so far, and they'll be stretching that out by kilometres today and over the course of the next week.
And in terms of the actual sort of operation on the ground, are there SES people still helping out, or is it just ADF and SAPOL for now?
There are SES helping out, and there's still locals in the family that are joining the search too. They've never stopped searching.
And is there any word on how the family are dealing with it all? I mean, there's been the added horrible development with social media, with people proffering all sorts of theories about, well, a mate of a mate told me this and the police have asked for all that to stop. It must have been just a hellish 2.5 weeks for them.
Of course, it's difficult to understand what they would be going through right now, and the media has been giving them the space and privacy that they need during this time. But police have said they are going through a difficult time and that they are still searching and hopeful, but no one can really imagine what they must be feeling right now.
Well, thank you so much for that. Samantha Hogan there for 9 News in Yunta.
We'll get more from the police commissioner after 8:30 this morning. Let's head to Tel Aviv. We wanted to chat with someone on the ground there who lives in Israel to get a sense of what it's like with the hostages being returned and the war being over. Lisa Segalov is an Australian lawyer who lives in Tel Aviv. Lisa, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. My pleasure.
Well, Lisa, just give us a sense. What's it been like living in your part of the world over the course of the last 24 hours?
Wow. It's been an emotional roller coaster. Today's been a day of rejoicing, of relief, of hope, of compassion, of putting a smile back on your face after the last 738 days of war on 7 fronts for Israel. And the return of the 20 live hostages is just a miracle. It's a day that I think Israelis will always remember, and it's just been filled, action-packed with emotion as the hostages came back, as Donald Trump addressed the Israeli parliament. And what more can I say?
What's Donald Trump's approval rating in Israel at the moment?
He's seen as the hero, as the person that sealed the deal, the person behind the deal, the person that made it happen. And greatest respect for him comes from the Israeli people, and I think Jews from all over the world, for making this happen.
Do you think, Lisa, is there a sense of confidence among Israelis that this will hold and that Israelis and Palestinians will somehow be able to live together, given, you know, the ferocity of what's happened over the last couple of years? Obviously was, you know, I'd personally pin the blame on Hamas. You know, they're the ones who started this, but there's been a hell of a lot in return. How do you go from this position of what seems as an outsider to be almost insoluble hatred to coexisting?
Well, I think that the Arab countries have a significant role to play in reshaping the Middle East. And I think that was the basis upon which Donald Trump could get to an agreement. And using the Arab nations, they were able to pressure Hamas into making some sort of roadmap that will lead, hopefully, to rebuilding, stabilization of Gaza and the demobilization and de-arming of Hamas, so that the Gazan citizens can finally get their country back and get it back in order with the aid of the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And so I have a positive outlook. Hamas is evil. Hamas is a terrorist organization. There is no one there to talk to about a future. They need to be eliminated. They cannot rule Gaza anymore. And we see that the forces behind this agreement that was signed with Donald Trump, of which Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt are committed, are also committed to getting Hamas out of government in Gaza.
And Lisa,
So yes, I do think, while it is extremely complicated, I do see a way forward for the Middle East to expand, to grow, and to eventually live in peace.
Lisa, just a bit about your story. How long have you been living in Israel? Were you living there on October 7, 2 years ago, or have you moved there since?
No, I've lived in Israel for the last 38 years.
Oh, wow.
I came to Israel, and I settled here, and I got married. I have 4 children, of which 3 have been serving in the army for the last 2 years. 1 doing her national service. That's my youngest daughter, who is a combat fighter, and the other 2 that did reserve duty and were called up for many days on end. And so I've been very closely associated with what happened on October the 7th, and I've lived through it. and I didn't sleep a lot for a lot of time that my children were in the army. And now we've come out the other side. So now I'm full of smiles. It's been a long ride, an emotional ride, a complicated ride. Everyone in Israel has been affected. And the return of the hostages today was an absolute tribute to our nation, the people of our nation, who made this issue a worldwide issue and placed it at the top of Trump's agenda so that he did deal with it, and a deal was able to be broken and to be made. And we have the return of these people after so long.
Lisa, we've been seeing on the Facebook and YouTube live stream whilst you've been talking scenes of jubilation at Hostages Square out front of the Tel Aviv Art Museum. Is that somewhere you've been? It's been the site of so much mourning and now celebration. Can you describe what it's like there, and are there plans for what becomes of that area now that we hope we're in a period of peace?
Well, on October the 7th, there were 251 people taken as hostages. And so all the families got together, and there was a whole movement that wasn't a government movement. It was a grassroots movement. And they came together in a square which is outside the courthouse. It borders the courthouse and the art museum and a national library. It's a big square, open square, and they set up there. And they've been there for the last 738 days. And there would be different gatherings at different times. And every Saturday night, there would be a rally of support for returning the hostages. And it was a national agenda. Everywhere in Israel, there were posters of hostages. And when they returned, they were taken down. There were several agreements reached between the last 2 years. So I went there almost every Saturday night for the last 2 years to show my support for the family. And every week someone would speak, someone who had either a returned hostage, one of the families of the hostages. And last Saturday night, Steve Whitcott and Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump spoke at the rally, and it was before 400,000 people, which Israel is a country of 10 million people, so 400,000 people in a square is massive. And this will become a place where I think they want to change the name from Hostage Square to Heroes Square. That's what I've heard on social media. And this will be embedded in the history of Israel. This place where people came to meet, to show support. And there were different things throughout the period. One of them was always a piano that people could go and play. And there would be different singers. And that was in honor of a hostage who came back today, Alon Oel, who is a very talented musician, a talented pianist. He's now 24 years old. And during his captivity, he used to play, it was said that he used to play with his fingers on his body, because he didn't have a piano. So this is what the square meant and what it means to people, and it's going to stay around.
Lisa,
Amazing.
Yeah, wow. You took us there, Lisa. Thank you. Lisa Segalov, an Australian lawyer who's living in Tel Aviv. What an experience having your children serving during this period and walking through a city where there's reminders everywhere about people that have had family members abducted.
Yeah.
And getting a sense of what it's like now that those people are home, those that were still alive are home, and the war ostensibly is over.
I think it's hard to wrap your head around as an Australian, like the idea that as a parent you'd want your kids to get involved in that sort of conflict. But I guess part of the thing is that given that Israel has had people like Hamas and Hezbollah against it who basically it's driven by hatred of the Jews. Like they don't think they should be there. They don't think they should exist. And that was what happened on October 7th. It was like, let's get as many Jews as we can and kill as many Jews as we can. So there's that sense of history has shown us that there have been multiple times in our history as Jewish people where nobody is going to help us at all. so we're going to fight ourselves. And I know a lot of progressive people go, oh, how horrible is Netanyahu? But the reason why a lot of Jews now go, well, hang on, this guy has fought on our behalf in response to what happened on October 7, where he's done a bit like what happened with Germany and Japan. It's like, we don't care what people think. We're just going to absolutely try to blow out all of the infrastructure. And clearly they've done it in a way where there's been a lot of mistakes made along the way, and they've admitted that. But, it's the Jewish people have been let down so badly by history. None more spectacularly, obviously, than World War II. I mean, that's genocide. That is absolute dictionary definition genocide. So, as complicated as it all is, and I think too, like, if you're a Palestinian, do you want to live the way you always have, or do you want to be the next Doha or Dubai? Like, there are plenty of examples of the Middle East of countries that have gone from being nothing in the desert and being ruled by feudalism and tribalism and having no infrastructure or business to becoming absolute global epicenters.
Some of the most affluent places on planet Earth.
Where everyone's standard of living has gone up massively.
All right, we're going to check traffic and come back with more on 5AA Breakfast in just a moment. Help Australians wanting to access critical medicines by visiting strongerpbs.com.au for more information.
Morning there, a O'Para two-car crash, Stephen Heath Road near Dalkeith Road. Norwood, urgent sewer works on Fullerton Road near Rundle Street. And if you're out and around Mallala at the moment, there's a truck and semi rollover to look out for Mallala Road near Gordon Road. Getting busy, Main North Road at Enfield with a camera this morning, Frederick Road at Grange. Do you or someone you care for need complex mental health support? Sane can help. Choose from a range of free digital and telehealth support services. Visit sane.org today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings.
Education Minister Blair Boyer. I see new data showing a slow but steady increase in attendance rates. That must be good news.
Graham Goodings.
It is, and you're right, it's slow but steady. We're up now at 87.6%, up from 85.9%. That took a big hit right around Australia during COVID.
Yeah. You'd never get to 100%, would you? But we're pushing closer to 90%, which is the right direction to be heading.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
If you're serious about making a big difference to your outdoor entertaining area, get in touch with Big Difference Home Improvements. Everything they do makes a big difference. From outdoor blinds and roller shutters to verandas, pergolas, carports and stunning decks. Big Difference Home Improvements can help you make the most of your space all year round. Visit bigdifference.com.au for a free measuring quote. Don't just make a difference, make a big difference. Visit bigdifference.com.au.
A new battery rebate is here, and it's a game changer. The Cheaper Home Batteries program with NRG Solar makes smart storage more affordable than ever. Eligible homes and small businesses can save thousands, and households could slash power bills by up to 90% with a solar and battery combo. NRG Solar will guide you through and lock in the rebate before the masses catch on. Head to nrgsolar.com.au or call 1300 858 160. Don't wait. The smart move is to act now.
Living on a big block in an older home that's seen better days, or maybe you've just picked up a fixer-upper on a generous slice of land, well, Metro Homes SA, Adelaide's custom-designed builder, has a clever solution.
That's right. They'll knock down the old place and build 2 brand new homes on the block. You sell one, move where you want, and keep the other as an investment. It's downsizing and building your future, all in one smart move.
And the best part, Metro takes care of the whole lot. Design, planning, council approvals, the works. They make it easy because they've done it all before.
So if you're ready to unlock the potential in your property without the stress, go Metro. Visit metrohomesa.com.au.
Separation, parenting disputes, property division. Family law is emotional and complex, but you don't have to face it alone. I'm Ben Thilthorpe from BTD Lawyers, and we're here to stand with you. With professional expertise, personal service and proven results, we'll guide you through every step with care, clarity and confidence. Book your obligation-free consultation today. Barbara Thilthorpe Daniel Lawyers, specialising in family law. Visit btdlawyers.au.
Here's an important air conditioning tip from Morford Air. Never give your teenagers control over the aircon remote. Your energy bills could go through the roof. Instead, for summer, set it around 21 degrees. It's the most energy efficient temperature. And if you turn it on early, before the teens are out of bed, your system will have less work to do, keeping your home cool all day. When it's too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air. morfordair.com.au.
Morphet Air. Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
26 minutes after 7, the Beta Birdwood is a celebration of all things in motoring history. Some of those things are rarer than others, though, and for the very first time in Beta Birdwood history, a 1964 Amphicar 770 will drive into the River Torrens near Elder Park ahead of the event that's taking place. Amphi, obviously an amphibious vehicle. Made in Germany. This has never been done before. It's going to happen at 11 a.m. on Thursday morning. So you're going to see a bit of this on your TV news services. There's going to be cameras on the Popeye, and they're going to see something that is a first for the Beta Birdwood. The Beta Birdwood by sea. Well, not by sea, by River Torrens. Tony Nasser owns the Amphicar and joins us now. Tony, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you today?
Good, Tony. How did you come to be in possession of this vehicle?
Oh, to try and do a long story short for you, I was in business here in Cooma, New South Wales, and a Snap-on representative had come in with a calendar, and on that calendar were a series of cars. Every month has a different car. And I turned to August and looked at that month and saw this car with propellers, and I was 19 years old, and I said, one day I'm going to get one of those cars. And sure enough, 20 years later, managed to do it.
So, mate, you live in Cooma. Cooma, from a family driving holiday in the 1980s, I can remember Cooma being one of the coldest places I've ever been. Where do you put it? Where do you put the car in at Cooma?
Well, we've actually got some of the best freshwater lakes in Australia here with the Snowy Mountain scheme.
Of course.
So freshwater is the ultimate for this car. We're trying to avoid salt water. And, so we're only 45 minutes from Jindabyne or Lake Yukonbean.
Yeah.
And we have access to these beautiful lakes. So, no, the car loves it.
Good trout country too.
Fantastic trout.
How well does it work in practice, Tony? I mean, how far can you go out? Does he ever run into trouble?
Yeah, no, we've actually a couple back in the day, a couple of mad Navy personnel in England just crossed the English Channel in two of them. They put the roof on, carried some extra fuel, and went for it. Got to France. One broke down a little bit before, and the other one towed it the rest of the way and got to shore. So as long as you're keen and adventurous enough, and you got enough fuel, you'll go.
So what's the propulsion mechanism on water, and does it run off the same engine as the car engine, or is it a separate, like an outboard?
Yeah, it's the transmission that the engineer had designed. Running off a Porsche gearbox, it's sort of a bits and pieces from a lot of other car models from the 60s. And he'd made a water transmission, so as you're entering the water, the motor's still going. You pull a lever, similar to those of a four-wheel drive, the old four-wheel drives, where you pull a lever to activate. Instead of activating front axles, it activates propellers in the back, and off you go.
Is yours right or left-hand drive?
Mine's a left-hand drive version, yeah. There was 99 of them that were right-hand drive, and we have a couple of them in Australia that have been restored. The first one that it came in, it's actually owned by an owner in Brisbane who'd restored the very first one. It was used in salt water, so it took 15 years to restore that and bring it back to life. So it's currently running. So hopefully by this time next year, we should have 4 or 5 of them running in Australia, so we could form a little bit of a club.
I can't wait to see this thing in action. Tony, thanks for chatting to us, mate. Really appreciate your time.
No problem. Look forward to meeting you guys. We'll get on the road and make our way to South Australia.
Yeah, you bring the coastal route if you want as well, Tony. Yeah, just drive down to Narooma and turn right.
Tony Nasser, the owner of a 1964 Amphicar 770 that will be featuring in the Beta Birdwood and before by going on an expedition in the River Torrens.
You better not take it down to the metropolitan beaches here because you don't want to get them filled up with algae, though.
No, that's right. Maybe it could disperse the algae. Yeah, it might be an algae buster.
Drop the clutch. Pump it out towards Antarctica.
With fuel prices the way they are, it's now more important than ever for your car to be fuel efficient.
Peak performance means peak efficiency, and that means Automasters. Book now for an Automasters Peak Performance Injector service. Petrol or diesel, your Automasters specialist will clean and service your fuel injection system to ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Get the best out of your car. Call 1300 Automasters. Peak performance guaranteed.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible morning shower in 21 today with the 7:30 news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
Make RAA-approved windscreen repairer Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
A fresh search for Gus Lamont is ramping up this morning. Samantha Hogan from 9 News has told David and Will the 4-year-old vanished on September 27 on a remote property near Yunta.
Major crime detectives are now leading this investigation and will be joined by dozens of officers and also the Australian Defence Force today in what will be an expanded search for the 4-year-old.
It is being treated as a recovery mission. A man's been arrested after a robbery in Salisbury Downs. Around 11:30 last night, police were called to a service station on the Salisbury Highway. A man had threatened the staff member and demanded cigarettes before leaving the area. The suspect, a 36-year-old man, was found at a nearby bus stop and charged. Well, Donald Trump is being hailed the world's leader of peace. The president was given a standing ovation after the release of 20 hostages detained by Hamas for 2 years. 1,900 prisoners also freed by Israel. He's also been awarded the Order of the Nile, Egypt's highest honour, as he signed the Gaza peace deal in Egypt alongside a collection of world leaders. Mr. Trump says it's now time to rebuild.
New and beautiful day is rising, and now the rebuilding begins. The rebuilding is maybe going to be the easiest part. I think we've done a lot of the hardest part because the rest comes together. We all know how to rebuild, and we know how to build better than anybody in the world.
The state's fishing sector is getting a further cash boost as part of the Algal Bloom Summer Plan. Primary Industries Minister Claire Scriven says an extra $16 million in support has been announced.
Additional funding for grants for small businesses, the grants of up to $10,000, and also for fisheries and aquaculture licence holders, further grants of up to $100,000 depending on the size of the business.
The Victorian Liberal Party is on track for a 4th consecutive state election loss. More from Stephanie Wacklowick.
Despite a swing against Labor, with voters failing to warm to Premier Jacinta Allen and mounting anger over the state's crime wave, a new Resolve Political Monitor survey conducted for The Age shows a terminal loss of party room support for leader Brad Batten following his frontbench reshuffle. Mr Batten revealed yesterday several of his MPs still hadn't returned his calls, with talks he was poised to face a leadership spill as early as today. His main challenger would be his newly appointed Shadow Treasurer, Jess Wilson, but in some relief of Batten, at least for now, she's yet to be convinced to challenge.
Now turning to 5AA's sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
With everything footy, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yes, let's begin there. Time is running out for Hawthorn to strike a deal for Essendon captain Zach Merritt, with fewer than 36 hours left in the trade window. Bombers great Matthew Lloyd says the Hawks need to make a tough call and give up a big-name player to get the trade over the line. The Crows, meantime, remain confident they can still get a deal done to get Callum Archie to West Lakes from Brisbane. To cricket now, England's players insist they're paying no attention to the Pat Cummins injury saga. The Australian captain concedes he's unlikely to take part in the opening Ashes test in Perth next month. Joe Root has told Sky Sports UK there's no use wasting energy on that now.
How much attention do you pay to all that?
Not much until probably the few days leading into the game. Clearly he's world class and he has been for a long time. Leader of their team as well. But, a lot can happen in 6 weeks.
The NFL's venture to Melbourne with the LA Rams to play at the MCG next year is being described as a mini Super Bowl. The game will likely be played on a Thursday or Friday morning in early September. The NFL's head of Europe and Asia Pacific, Brett Gosper, says fans can expect a full week of American football festivities.
The actual event itself will be like a mini Super Bowl. It will have, build up over a week's period, and it will have all of the, shop activities, etc. So
And it's full time in World Cup qualifiers this morning. Kosovo upsetting Sweden 1-0. Iceland and France drew 2-2, while Germany got over Northern Ireland 1-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
G'day there at Monopara. Two-car crash getting cleaned up. Stevenheath Road near Dark, Keith Road at Norwood. Urgent sewer works this morning. That's Fullerton Road at Rundle Street. She's a bit on the nose if you're driving through there as well. And if you're out and around near Mallala, there's a truck and semi-rollover to look out for Mallala Road near Gordon Road. Busy South Road, Edwardstown with the Camera Whites Road, Paralawi. The brand new Glenelg BMW showroom is now open. All models on site to view and test drive. Yes, please, to suit all lifestyles. So visit the team at 141 Brighton Road. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA weather, 21 today with a possible morning shower. Sunny tomorrow, 29. Thursday, a possible thunderstorm, 28. And Friday, partly cloudy, 21. Right now, it's 13 degrees on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
At Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, the swear jar takes on a whole new meaning. It's about their pledge to do everything they can to make your bathroom or kitchen renovation experience the best it can possibly be. It's a commitment their entire business takes seriously, from their incredible design team through to their selections and tradespeople. Every person at Buy Urban is invested. They swear by it. Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
Look at all this stock. All of it has to go. Go, go, go. At all TJM stores nationwide. It's TJM's national car park sale. Bull bars, rooftop tents, suspension kits, camping gear. Prices slashed. We're talking select canopies from just $1,999 and rock slider and bull bar bundles starting at $1,600. These deals are in-store only. And when they're gone, they're gone, gone, gone. Get down to your local TJM store nationwide, 17th and 18th of October.
TJM.
Take the lead.
If working with NDIS plans is a source of confusion or frustration, there is an easy way forward. At Complete Care, you're given a client service manager. Think of them as a concierge, there to assist and recommend services as they're needed, from cleaning and home maintenance to social support and transportation. They're essential to our clients and always available to their loved ones. It's just one of the things we do that sets us apart. Trust client service managers from Complete Care with a K.
Summer's on the way. Beat the rush and organise your Walco pool blanket now. Keep your pool clean, warm and reduce evaporation. Uncover the savings with a Walco pool blanket. Visit walco.com.au.
Australians deserve a stronger pharmaceutical benefits scheme, one that is faster, fairer and fit for the future. Did you know it has been 30 years since the PBS was reviewed? In that time, science and medicines have made significant advancements, but our process for getting Australians access to these advancements is letting us down. If you would like to do your part to help all Australians waiting to access critical medicines, simply visit strongerpbs.com.au today.
When life sends you up a creek without a paddle, hello! Get a paddle. Or two. With a new Cashies loan. Woohoo, a paddle! Get up to $5,000. Redraw whenever you need without reapplying. Plus, there's no upfront fees, no monthly account keeping fees, and there shouldn't be a fees. New Cashies loan. Be more life-proof. Apply in-store or at cashconverters.com.au.
T's and C's credit checks, fees and charges apply. See website for TMDs. Australian Credit Licence 391436.
With fuel prices the way they are, fuel efficiency is more important than ever. And that means a peak performance injector service from Automasters. Ensure your vehicle is running at optimum efficiency. Save fuel, save money. Call 1300 Automasters.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
20 minutes to wait. In a moment, we're heading to the nation's capital. Phil Curry from the Fin Review will join us. And in an hour's time, the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens, will be in the studio with an update on the search for Gus Lamont that, as we heard at 7:05 this morning, has started again at the property in Yunta where he originally went missing. Police joined by Defence Force personnel in what will be a wider search area than what was first looked at. The Police Commissioner with the very latest on that story after 8:30 this morning. 82230000 is our number. You can text us too on the Police Home Care text line, 0480081395. And a reminder, we've got a jury coming up very, very shortly, which is your chance to win $100 worth of Samtas seafood. very, very shortly.
Sam Test Seafood, nothing wrong with Sam Test Seafood. Best seafood you can get anywhere in Australia. And I say that as someone who used to spend a lot of time hanging around at the Sydney fish markets. Everything in the counter there at Sam Test is as good, if not better, than anything you will find anywhere in the world. We're lucky to have Sam Test here in South Australia.
That's a good spot.
4 kilos
coming into a good time of year
too.
for seafood as well.
Yeah, the other thing too, everyone goes, oh, it's Christmas. Oh, I've got to go and brave the queues. Go in there now. Like, go in there today and do your Christmas shopping. Like, you know, you can whack it all in the freezer. You buy the prawns on Christmas Eve, they're frozen anyway. Those big 3 kilo bags of king prawns that they do. So get in there and get into it.
Exactly right. Not sure we're going to get Phil this morning. I think he might be otherwise engaged. Our correspondent in the nation's capital. Already this morning we chatted with Ted O'Brien about what was the biggest story in federal politics yesterday, the backflip on superannuation changes, which will see the taxation of unrealised gains binned in addition to an indexation of the 15% tax that kicks in of super balances over $3 million, which essentially means that it will be in 2050, it'll be a significantly higher number than $3 million, but it will represent the same as having $3 million of wealth in 2025, as opposed to just having the net figure of $3 million, which is, you know, how we get to situate. The absence of that kind of logic is how we get to situations like people. The vast majority of people being in the higher tax brackets these days because of wages naturally increasing over the course of time.
So just to clarify it, Will, does this mean that that it's now going to be indexed?
That's correct.
Because that was I think that was the philosophical point that problem that a lot of people had with it. Like the idea, because at the moment, if you've got $3 million in super,
you're doing
in
exceptionally well.
It's like you've won the lottery of life.
Yes, you have nothing to complain about.
No, but 20 years down the track, I mean, you think about, put it in the context of house prices. Can you remember what you paid for your first house?
Yeah, absolutely. I can. It was under $400,000
well,
for a house.
I'll beat that. In 1992, my first house in Torrensville was $122,000. In fact, it was $122,500 because at the auction, the final bids were going in $500 lots. Now, we'd have people listening who, I wonder what the lowest price one of our listeners can remember paying for their house is. We've probably got listeners who paid, I don't know. Well, I'm trying to think. Well, there'd be a lot of people who paid in pounds pre-1966, but I'm trying to think what Mum and Dad paid when they bought their house in O'Sullivan's Beach. I think it was like $20,000. You know, so that shows how money changes over the passage of time. And, you know, the idea that they were just going to be sitting there licking their lips waiting for inflation to do their dirty work for them was completely unconscionable.
There were two camps that really took huge issue with this, beyond sort of the economists that had roundly bashed it and people like Paul Keating, who have the godfather of superannuation. There are those that were concerned for younger people who were going to be captured by something that was originally designed to target really well-off rich people. They would have been just average everyday people that have been caught paying a higher rate of tax on superannuation. But the other group was those that had a property in their super, farmers and others who were going to face the potential to have the increase in that property somehow materialise in a tax bill that they were going to have to find actual physical money to pay for. So both those things have been canned. Alf in Broadview's called in on 8223 0000. Morning, Alf.
Good morning, gents. I bought my first home in Redwood Park for it was 3 years old, 115,950.
Oh,
115,950.
Yep.
950. I love the little 950 thrown on the end there, Alf. Have you still got it, mate?
No. I sold it years. Kept it for nearly 10 years, and the market didn't move too much. I think we sold it for 128,500.
Yeah, it's funny. If only you knew now, we knew then what we all know now. I feel the same about my Torrensville place because I sold that, and I think it had gone up to like 200, but over like 20 years. God knows what it's worth today.
Let's go to Wendy in Elizabeth. Morning to you, Wendy.
Good morning, boys. How you going?
Good, thanks, Wendy.
Good. Listen, 1978, I bought a block of land for $8,000 and I put a $21,000 home on it.
A $28,000 home.
28.
Yep, in 1978.
Oh,
and that was our first home. Yeah, so I was laughing, and I think if I'd bought the block next door, it would have been $8,000, so I'd be laughing a bit more now.
Oh, wow. It's amazing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is unbelievable.
Everyone who bought a home in that period of time, it was kind of like the Clampetts, really, just didn't know it.
Yeah, yeah.
It was just, you didn't have oil. It was just the property in Australia was going to be so incredibly expensive just 30, 40 years down the track. Ray in Lewiston, good morning.
Oh, good morning. It's Mrs. Clampett here. My husband and I was 19 at the time, my husband and I bought our first house and land, new home, Hickenbotham house and land package, and it was a lovely home. We got it for £3,750.
3,000. And you were 19, Ray?
That's right. I had to sign a special form with the government or something for some reason because I wasn't 21. And we had a second mortgage. We were both working. My husband had about 3 jobs. And we were scared to death, but that's what we paid. So it'd be about $7,500.
That's amazing, Ray. What a great story.
The average first home buyer's age in Australia now is in their mid-30s.
Because it takes you that long to get the deposit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let's go to Hawthorne Dean. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning, guys. My husband and I bought our first home in 1971 for $18,250. And there was an added bonus. It's in Sturt Avenue.
Oh, very nice. Well, that's reason enough to live there, isn't it, Margaret?
Absolutely. I'm still here.
Still
I lost
there?
my husband earlier this year, but we're still here. We just love it.
It's a beautiful part of
it.
SA.
It is magnificent. Thank you, Margaret. Robbie, good morning.
Oh, good morning. I remember my parents, they bought 2 homes. They had me when I was 17 and my mum and dad bought their first house when they were 18 and they bought 24 Austral Terrace, Melbourne for $12,500 and then they moved to Victoria Avenue, Unley Park, and they paid $225,000 for it.
In Victoria Avenue?
Victoria Avenue.
Correct. Number 7 Victoria Avenue, and they paid $225,000.
Do you know how many square metres it is out of interest, Robbie? Probably like 2,000 at least.
At the time it didn't, but my dad was actually a builder. He built a 25 metre long swimming pool in there with a diving board and a tennis court.
A 25-metre long pool.
Yeah. Incredibly enough, though, were the people that bought it after my parents sold it, they actually filled in the pool and then put another pool in a different spot.
Well, I suppose if you're buying a house in Victoria Avenue, you can afford to do stuff like that, can't you?
So in the 200,000s, but I must say, though, my dad worked very hard, but their house in Austral Terrace of Melbourne was lovely, and that was $12,000.
Wow.
When they were 18, and they're still happily married.
Amazing.
I just looked up 7 Victoria Avenue, Unley Park. It was last sold in 2019 for $3.88 million. So that's before the COVID boom, mind you, as well. It's probably worth somewhere in the order of 5+ now.
That's crazy.
That's amazing. Lena in Windsor Gardens, good morning.
Oh, good morning, boys. I bought my house in 1983 and I paid $47,000.
$47,000. Imagine that today.
What were you doing at the time, Lena? What were you and your partner doing?
Oh, no, I was just living with my parents and then I decided to buy my own home.
Oh, wow. Well done.
Yes.
It's very enterprising of you.
Yes.
Clever.
I'm very happy and I'm still here and I love it and I'll never leave.
Windsor Gardens is nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Good stuff, Lena. Thank you. Phil and McGill, tell us about the first time.
Morning, boys. March 1970, brand new house in a cul-de-sac at Marion, ex-Market Garden, $15,000.
$15,000. I tell you what, ex-Market Garden. Ex-Market Garden, there'd be a lot of people in Adelaide who live on what were tomato plants or almonds or vineyards. Down where I grew up, Mitchell Park, Marion, round the Sturt River, it was all almond groves and grapes, and for the western side of town, around like Seaton and that was all market gardens. A lot of the Greeks in the 60s, the government did that compulsory buyback and they all lost all of their glass houses.
There are perspectives, Friday. There are still some hard luck stories. And on the police home care text line makes the observation: my mum and dad paid £7,000 for their house in 1962 in Malvern, sold it in 93 for $670. Anne says it'd be worth over $3 million today. Tim in Henley Beach, good morning.
Morning, boys. Will, you'll probably appreciate this in a sense that you'll know the location. Corner of Seaview Road and North Street.
Yeah.
Back in about the 1980s, opposite the Henley Town Hall, $38,000.
No way.
You wouldn't get a car park in Henley Beach for $38,000 these days, would you?
No chance.
The locals will remember it as old weather blow house. It had 2 units and a bed sitter. And as a young apprentice butcher, I was getting 3 incomes, but even going to the bank to borrow $30,000 for a young apprentice butcher was a big, big risk. So it's all relative. It's all relative. Timing's relative.
That area around North Street is like quintessential Henley Beach. That's
totally
as beautiful as it gets. We'll take one more. Andrew and Seaton, good morning.
G'day, guys. I think you're losing a few listeners at the moment because there's a lot of under 30s smashing their radios at this point.
Yeah.
The 1989 West Croydon, 94 grand. And I think we sold it not that many years later, but if I was selling it today, I would have skipped a zero. I would have gone to 7 figures already.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, totally.
Andrew, thank you for that. I mean, that's we have that conversation because it is by way of contrast to where things are at today. And we talk about the superannuation policy, but it's all these decisions in Canberra at the moment that the tentacles of which feed into the property market. Things like the 5% deposit scheme, big political thing at the moment, but is it doing anything other than simply driving up house prices?
Yeah.
Those conversations are very important to have periodically.
Yeah.
Because it happens, it's the slow-boiled frog. They didn't go from $20,000 to $2 million overnight, but they did get there.
Yeah, but the pace at which it's jumped in the last 5 years, just remarkable.
Most certainly. All right, brilliant calls. Thank you for that. Let's check traffic, and we will come back with more on 5AA Breakfast in just a moment. If you want to help out Australians waiting to access critical medicines, do so by visiting strongerpbs.com.au for more information.
G'day there, Mono Paro, 2-car smash getting cleaned up at the moment. Stepping to Heath Road near Dark Heath Road, but good news, no great delays through there. No, we've got some urgent sewer works happening at the moment. Fullerton Road near Rundle Street, and if you're out and around Mallala at the moment, there's a truck and semi-rollover to look out for Mallala Road near Gordon Road. Busy South Road, Edwardstown, slow, Brighton Road, Glenelg East with the camera main North Road at Enfield. Make every journey memorable in a Mercedes-Benz. For a limited time, enjoy savings across a select range of models. Visit your nearest dealer today. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months. At Premier Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, Premier Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for Premier Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. On time, on budget, on the job.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Is it the best Beechwood home ever made? Possibly, but there's always more to come from Beechwood. Introducing the Caliente, now open for viewing. The Caliente is a multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style. Taking inspiration from Palm Springs and California, it's definitely a conversation starter. The team at Beechwood can't wait for you to see it at 10 Simon Crescent, Craigburn Farm. Open Saturdays and Sundays, 1 to 4:30pm. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Hi, Daniel Talia here, General Manager of Home. That's HAUME. Put simply, we buy homes. If you've received a letter from us in your mailbox, don't throw it away. You may be throwing away a golden opportunity to sell your home at market value. With zero effort, advertising fees or commissions, you'll save thousands of dollars. If you've received a letter from us, it means we're serious about buying your home. For more info, visit home.com.au. That's HAUME.com.au.
Our place is your place at the Albion Hotel. We're big on celebrations, so bring the whole family and let the kids loose to explore our massive outdoor playground. Every day is Schnitzel Day at the Albion. Loyalty members that have downloaded the Albion app enjoy discounts and rewards on food and drinks every day of the week. And if you're on the go, we've got you covered in our Thirsty Camel drive-through bottle shop. The Albion Hotel. Your local, your people, your place.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
3 minutes to 8, breaking 8 coming up after 8 o'clock this morning. Police Commissioner Grant Stevens not too far away either. He'll be joining us after 8:30. So many texts have come through in the last 15 minutes on the Police Home Care text line, 048008 1395, and everyone's got a story to tell on house prizes.
What about Rod? He says he bought his house in 1973 for $26,000. And he saw it the other day being sold by its current owners for $780,000. That's quite a jump. $750,000.
Here's a good text on the other side of the coin here. Very happy to hear about the bargains everyone got back in the day. I'm looking for my first home, and my partner and I can't find an established house with a backyard for under $700,000.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I went to an auction for a unit that was part of a strata group. There was 16 of them, and it was on 99 square metres.
99 square metres?
99 square metres.
In Victoria Avenue, they've got rumpus rooms that big.
Well, that was the housing area. Sorry, so
yeah,
it was a small unit. Is what I'm saying. It went for over $600,000, and as I was at the auction, standing on my right to one side was a dad and his two daughters who got to 600, and he just went, "I'm never getting a house." And during the auction, jumped in his car and sped off. Then there was another group. It was a mum and a dad and their two kids who'd been bidding early when it looked like it was realistic. It just looked absolutely crestfallen, and I thought this is unseemly.
Yeah,
this is gross.
Yeah,
this feels like the Hunger Games. And it was the two people that ultimately were the bit that got there was, and I don't begrudge either of them, but this is a sign of where things are at. It was an investment, and it was someone who was buying it on behalf of their child.
Mm.
And I thought that's the entry point for property these days.
Mm.
There's your two groups. That's who's, and this was, as I said, wasn't Victoria Avenue.
No. Well, you think about it in the context of like something I'm familiar with down south, like, Seaford Meadows, around Christie's, and all of the new home and land packages that are being built by Villawood in Aldinga there on Main South Road, where the near the turn off to Wollonga. Like when I bought that block of land in Aldinga, and it was exactly 20 years ago. It was slightly more than $100,000,
and
it. Like you can walk to the water from it within 5 minutes. And I remember looking at it because I was living in Sydney, and mates were going, "Mate, they've left the zero off that. Like you can see the ocean in the satellite photograph." And like you think, even in the space of 2 decades, The idea of getting 1,000 square metres of land, well, the first thing is everyone will be
Good luck
going,
with that.
how can we get 4 houses on it?
Yeah.
But the fact that you could pay $100,000 as part of your retirement plan to go back to the place you've always loved in your autumn years, and it was like not financially onerous. Now, those days are gone, and they've gone in the blink of an eye. And I sort of wonder, too, to your Hunger Games point, is it sort of the psyche of programs like The Block? It's just this sort of salivation over, it's going up, it's going up, it's going up. Well, it's going up, but what does that mean for our kids?
Breaking 8 coming up next.
Local news and information first. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible morning shower and 21 today with the 8 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Mel Usher.
For the best price, quality and same-day service, trust Complete Windscreens. RAA approved, Main North Road, Prospect.
It's back to Oak Park Station at Yunta today with the search for Gus resuming. The 4-year-old vanished on September 27. Samantha Hogan from 9 News has told David and Will they'll be concentrating on a broadened area.
New analysis of evidence, including from drone flyovers, has prompted them to extend that area further today. So 100 officers and ADF personnel will be searching over the course of the next days. Sadly, this is now a recovery mission to find Gus.
Attention is turning to securing peace in the Middle East after the signing of an historic ceasefire deal in Egypt. The last 20 living hostages have been reunited with their families in Israel, while close to 2,000 Palestinian prisoners have been freed. Hamas is yet to lay down its arms. Acting Prime Minister Richard Marles says it's up to all parties to adhere to all points of the plan.
An enduring peace in the Middle East will only happen with a two-state solution. This plan paves the way for a Palestinian polity, but it can be one where Hamas has no role, and that's very clear in this as well. So it is important that all the parties adhere to it.
A further $16 million in support has been announced for the state's fishing sector. It's part of the Algal Bloom Summer Plan and includes additional grants for eligible businesses. Primary Industries Minister Claire Scriven says there will also be grants to help retain workers.
It's obviously been a really difficult time in terms of retaining workers when there's been such an impact from the harmful algal bloom.
Australia Post is gearing up for the festive season with more electric delivery vehicles. There'll be a new fleet of 500 rolled out nationwide. SA locations include Camden Park, Modbury North, Gawler, Glynde and Lonsdale. The delivery vehicles have a 400% increase in parcel capacity compared to a motorbike. Actress Naomi Watts has received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The 57-year-old recognised for her film career, which includes 2 Oscar nominations. She says her work ethic comes from her Australian roots.
Hard work, Australians know how to work hard and keep their heart on their sleeves at the same time.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. All eyes will be on player movement in the AFL world today, with only a day and a half until the trade window closes. The Crows are still trying to land Brisbane Premiership player Callum Archie. For the Suns, they're hoping to secure the services of Christian Petrarca, while much interest surrounds Charlie Curnow and whether he'll end up at Sydney. Curnow met with Swans officials yesterday but was tight-lipped heading in as he went into their headquarters.
What appeals to you about the Swans?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, pretty keen to have a look around. Yeah, so wait and see. It's been nice to get up here just today. So,
are you still hopeful of a move in the next couple of days?
Oh, there's a fair bit to play out, so I'm not too sure. But we'll see what happens.
Audio there thanks to 9. Well, former Test opener Dave Warner believes England will win the first Ashes Test in Perth next month if Pat Cummins is ruled out with injury. Meantime, South Australia's cricketers will train today ahead of tomorrow's Sheffield Shield clash against Queensland at home. And there was one game in the Women's One-Day World Cup overnight. South Africa 3-wicket winners over Bangladesh. Well, tiny African nation Cape Verde, boasting a population of just 525,000 people, has qualified for next year's FIFA World Cup. It becomes the second smallest nation ever to reach the World Cup finals. The Socceroos, meantime, will have a light training session today ahead of tomorrow's friendly against the USA. The Aussies looking to continue their winning form after a 1-0 win against Canada. To tennis, Alexei Popyrin has gone down in a tight 3-setter to American Sebastian Korda. That was at the Stockholm Open in the round of 32. And Game 2 of the American League Championship Series is underway with the Seattle Mariners off to a red-hot start against the Toronto Blue Jays.
Here's his 1-2. Rodriguez hooks one in the air, down the line. If it's fair, it's got a chance, and it's gone. Julio Rodriguez with a 3-run shot in the first inning.
Audio there thanks to ESPN. The Blue Jays have hit back. Seattle now leading 3-2 at the top of the second. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning there at Norwood. Urgent sewer works getting fixed as we speak. Fullerton Road near the top of Rundle Street there. If you're out and around near Mallala, there's a truck and semi roll over to look out for. Mallala Road near Gordon Road. Quite busy at the moment. South Road at Glendale, that's for those ongoing tram overpass works and starting to slow up as per normal at Flinders Park for the Grange Road and Holbrooks Road intersection works. Cameras Whites Road Paralour in Main North Road at Blair Athol this morning. Hungry but low on cash? Aporto has you covered. Grab a crispy wrap stacker, regular chips and a drink for only $10. Hunger satisfied for less at Aporto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA forecast, a possible morning shower, then a top of 21 today. Sunny tomorrow, 29. Thursday, a possible thunderstorm, 28. Back to 21 on Friday. Right now, it's 13 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
At Complete Care, we're more than just a care provider, we're a family. As we celebrate our 10th year, our mission remains the same, to empower our specialised team of carers and client service managers to help our seniors live independently. We provide personalised services including cleaning and home maintenance to social support and transportation. We look after you like family, offering a warm, caring touch that sets us apart. At Complete Care, we're the company with heart. Complete Care with a K.
When you're gone, who gets the things most precious to you? Like your grandfather's war medals or your mother's cherished piano that was passed down to you. If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour. donlanlawyers.com.
You don't have to be a curator to find artworks you can't get anywhere else in the world. Just visit Art by FIVEAA. They're proud to host unique Indigenous artworks in their gallery and even prouder sending these artworks home to be admired for years to come. All pieces at Art by FIVEAA are ethically sourced, directly supporting Indigenous artists and communities. Visit the incredible range at 1070 South Road, Edwardstown. Art by FIVEAA, a family company specialising in Indigenous art.
I'm dreaming of a laundry I actually want to be in. Is that even possible?
It absolutely is with Use It, Adelaide's custom laundry experts.
Well, they did build my nana's laundry back in the 70s, and it still runs beautifully.
Exactly. Since 1978, Use It has crafted laundries that balance function and style. To bring your laundry to life, visit Use It at 54 The Parade, Norwood, or online at useit.com.au.
It's not the space.
It's the way you use it.
Here's a stat you need to hear. Literally, 1 in 6 Australians are living with some sort of hearing loss. It's hard to notice because it creeps up on you, but it doesn't have to get in the way of things. Not if you do something about it now. Can Do Hearing can provide solutions to make living with hearing loss so much better. And your options are almost endless. Book an appointment with Can Do Hearing. candohearing.com.au. That sounds better.
Streaming live via the 5AA Player app on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 minutes after 8, breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. We have got in touch with Phil Curry. We will chat with him in the nation's capital at 8:20 this morning. So if you don't usually get to catch Phil, a real treat for you today. He does it better than anyone else when it comes to making sense of the crazy world of federal politics. Also, after 8:30, the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens, in the studio. Lots to talk about with the Commissioner, but perhaps the developing story this morning, without doubt the developing story this morning, is the resumption of the search for Gus Lamont. police, Defence Force personnel back at the property in Yunta, but with an expanded search zone. What led to that? What prompted it? We'll be speaking to the Police Commissioner about all of that after 8:30.
Well, the state government is today continuing its further rollout of the $100 million summer plan to combat the algal bloom. Now, today's announcement that's only just come out, this goes to one of what people in the industry have described as one of the weak spots so far in the government strategy, which is the availability of financial support to people affected in the seafood industry. I'm certainly not saying that the government hasn't done anything, but there's been criticisms about the process, the amount of time that's been taken, and also, in some cases, the amount of money available to businesses which in some cases still remain shut down months on. Well, today the good news is that there's a further $16 million on the table, including additional grants totaling up to $275,000 for eligible businesses. Rob Barrett is a commercial fisher on Kangaroo Island, and we've got him on the line now to get his thoughts on this. Rob, what's your take on it, mate? KI has sort of picked up a bit from what we are hearing in terms of the bloom, but given the losses that people on KI have sustained, is this going to be of much assistance, do you think?
Good morning, Dave and Will. You might have to bear with me because I'm actually just reading this. It's only been released today myself, so I'm just skimming through it myself. But, yeah, I mean, any support's always going to be welcome. We're not going to knock it back, and as long you're correct, as long as it's directed into the right areas. So, and I think to give them credit, they are trying to do their best because, I mean, as we're all aware, 5 months ago, none of us knew where this was heading or how it was going to play out or what's going to happen, and we still don't know. I know you guys are copping it up there now off the Metropolitan Coast, but we've probably been in it now for 5 months, and to give you guys a head up, our waters have cleared, but, you know, the whole thing is now the ecosystem's got to recover and the fish, you know, got to come back and the food source has got to be there, so that's where we're at.
Yeah.
But this package here is always welcome. I mean, and if it's directed to keeping workers on in the industry and all that sort of stuff, it's got to be a good thing. So
yeah. So where are you? Where are you based, Rob? And where do you do most of your fishing?
I'm based in Kingscote now, just in Kingsnet. So I'm at the end of my fishing career now. I'm 65. So yeah. So I'm just slowing down a bit, but yeah, based in Kingscote, mostly whiting and squid, that sort of stuff. So
and all on the north side of the island.
Yes, correct. So. I mean, I don't know if you're aware about Kingscote. Well, no, you know where Kingscote is, but we got some spit system and all that around Kingscote and quite shallow, the productive whiting grounds, but they really got impacted with like all our arrays of fish and sea worms and cockles. Everything was wiped out, so it's just going to take time for that to recover. So these sort of packages are perfect for that sort of thing to keep us in the industry. So.
How's it going around like American River and Island Beach? Because early in the piece with the bloom, it sounded like that was hit sort of hardest first. It seemed to almost be like the canary in the coal mine, all those pictures that were coming through from Island Beach where there were just piles of fish and, as you say, all of the food that the fish rely on, like the cockles and that. But is it cleared up much now?
Yeah, I mean, you're correct. I mean, KI, the North Coast or around Kingscote, North Coast and American River and all that, so we're pretty well impacted like down along with the Victor at the same time. So yeah, it is. The water is so much clearer now. It's better. I mean, we haven't got the foam and stuff now, but the fish numbers just haven't come back. So you just need that ecosystem to recover. So and that's where some of these grants are directed into that sort of research and stuff. So in the future, we actually know if it. Let's hope it never happens again. But if it does happen, this is the time frame. You know, we're going to be up against for the stuff to recover. So that's where we're at now. With the waters, well, let's hope. I mean, none of us know what's going to happen this summer, do we? So
no.
When it does warm up a bit, so fingers crossed. Our waters have cleared a lot. We just need those ecosystems to recover now. So
did you have many days this year where you just said, "There's no point. I'm just not going to go out"?
Oh, well, I haven't fished commercially now for 5-6 months.
Is it that long? Wow.
Yeah.
Crikey.
It's just no. I mean. At the moment now you can go out and get a feed, like if you're a wreck or something, but the commercial numbers just aren't back there. So, yeah. So I mean, this is a lifesaver for a lot of us guys in the industry, the support package. So
yeah,
I'll be a little careful what I say. So yeah, exactly.
Well, you don't want to bag them in case you miss out.
Exactly. Yeah, no. No, I've had the opportunity to meet Peter a couple of times, even when he was opposition leader. So I must admit he has listened to what I've said sometimes. So no, let's just see how it goes.
Mm. Well, Rob, that's great analysis on the fly, mate. We appreciate it. We'd always rather get the human story and talk to a real person. Well, I mean, I'm not saying politicians aren't real people, but I mean someone like you with a dog in the fight, so to speak. Good on you, Rob. Next time we're on Kale, hopefully sit down, have a big plate of gar or whiting with you, and obviously pay you for it, given the financial hardship you've been going through. Rob Barrett, commercial fisherman there on KI, God's Country.
Just looking at part of a component of this, the $8 million of the extension of industry support grants. So this is extra money predicated on the fact that you have already received a grant and can demonstrate a further separate 3 months of downturn, which says two things that aren't positive. One is clearly the algal bloom hasn't gotten any better in the last 3 months, but the second is neither has the perception of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it'll be that second point that'll be keeping the government up at night. Because these grants like this and calling it a natural disaster and so forth is all based on the idea that it's going to go away. Well, one of two things are going to go away. Either the bloom does or people get totally comfortable with the seafood industry again. The jury's very much out.
And also to Rob's point, and the fish come back.
And the fish stocks come back.
Yeah. Because a lot of the stuff that they eat clearly isn't there. It's the things you can't see that fish eat that might be the bigger part of the problem in terms of regeneration.
Yeah, it's a little thing that tells a big story, that breaking at 8 this morning. 17 after 8, we're off to the nation's capital shortly. Love you to be part of the show, Tove. You too. If you've got a comment to make, 8223 0000. You can text us on the Police Home Care text line. So many in the last 45 minutes. We'll get to some more of those in just a moment. Traffic first, though. Help Australians waiting to access critical medicines by visiting strongerpbs.com.au for more information.
Morning there at Crafers West. A two-car collision on the freeway near the tunnel, seeing delays inbound. Norwood, urgent sewer works, Fullerton Road near Rundle Street. If you're out and around Mallala, there's a truck and semi-rollover to look out for. Mallala Road near Gordon Road, and slow the Southern Expressway to Majors Road. People getting used of the new on and off ramps just on O'Halloran Hill there. Cameras, Tapley's Hill Road, Fulham, and Whites Road, Paralawi. Do you or someone you care for need complex mental health support? Sane can help. Choose from a free range of digital and telehealth support services. Visit sane.org today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Rowie and Timmy G.
A sensational win that was at Bathurst in incredible conditions. Go up Panda.
You're a part of a Cinderella bloody story there, son.
The 5AA Sports Show.
Very tricky. All week the forecast was the weather might turn sideways on Sunday, and there was quite a bit of rain, and then the fog came in. I think if we had both at the same time, it would have been really, really tricky.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
It can happen at any time, more often than you think. Suddenly, through illness or accident, you could lose the capacity to manage your financial or personal affairs. What happens next? Who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Your old hot water system can drive as much as 40% of your energy bill. Fortunately, you can upgrade to something that's 70% cheaper to run thanks to Right Price. They're the leaders in heat pumps and installation. Now's the time to upgrade and save money on a more efficient hot water system and take advantage of government incentives and free installation. Reduce your energy costs today with a heat pump from Right Price. Make the switch with Right Price Hot Water.
At Right Price, heating and cooling, you can get the price right at Right Price.
Just about everyone's been to the Kent Town Hotel, and for good reason.
At ground level, you've got the same amazing menu in the restaurant and the Kent Bar, plus seating for 150 outside. It's a perfect spot any day of the week.
But here's something you may not know. Upstairs, they've got the balcony bar.
Now, the balcony bar's It's got everything that the Kent Bar does, including the menu. It's also one of Adelaide's most popular venues for private events of up to 150 people, including for afternoon wakes.
You get your own bar, an outside balcony area that holds 80 people, and fireplaces to keep everyone cosy.
We love the Kent Town here at 5AA. We've had lots of events there. I've been there privately with mates. Great pub. It's completely separate from the 400-person function room on the same level, so you really do get the whole balcony bar to yourself.
So if you're looking for a great space for your next special event, check out the balcony bar at the Kent Town Hotel.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we, the Lynn Andrews team, have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easier for investors and tenants. Everyone is treated with empathy and respect. It's the way we do business. It's the Lynn Andrews way. For residential and commercial property management, we're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Look at all this stock. All of it has to go. Go, go, go. At all TJM stores nationwide. It's TJM's national car park sale. Bull bars, rooftop tents, suspension kits, camping gear. Prices slashed. We're talking select canopies from just $1,999 and rock slider and bull bar bundles starting at $1,600. These deals are in-store only. And when they're gone, they're gone, gone, gone. Get down to your local TJM store nationwide. 17th and 18th of October.
TJM. Take the lead.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
22 minutes after 8, let's head to the nation's capital. Phil Curry, the political editor of the Australian Financial Review, joins us. Morning to you, Phil.
Morning, fellas. Sorry for earlier.
No, not at all, Phil. No, we're having a good old yak with the listeners about how much they paid for their houses. So, no, it was all sweet. And
we cheery conversation.
Was for them.
Yeah. Was for the ones who bought in the 70s.
You're right.
No, mate, we always appreciate the work you do for us, so we'd never complain about punctuality, particularly me, as you well know.
Indeed.
A bit of a reverse backflip with Pike for the Treasurer yesterday. So what's the politics of this? Do you reckon they just twigged, or was it more so Albo twigged to the fact that this was a bit of a stinker with people?
Yeah, it was the latter, Dave. So, the irony being that, the superannuation policy was announced 2.5, 3 years ago, and they couldn't get it through the Senate last term, before the election, because the crossbenchers wouldn't come at it, and the government refused to make any changes. And then after the election, they actually could get it through the Senate because they only needed the Greens, and the Greens would have passed it. But suddenly the politics of this thing started to become murky, and Albanese, red flags went up with Albanese, and he essentially leant on the Treasurer and said, mate, you're going to have to water this down. It's too dangerous. The bit that worried him most was called taxing of unrealised gain. So they wanted to increase the tax on your super. If you had more than $3 million in your super in either cash or assets, they were going to increase the tax you paid on the earnings of the bit over $3 million, right? So if you had, a lot of people have farms or businesses or whatever, properties in their self-managed funds, and you were going to have to pay tax on the gain, even though it was just a paper gain. It wasn't a real. It was just you get the thing valued and it's gone up by so many $100,000. You had to pay 15% of that, whether you had the cash or not. So that was called taxing unrealised gains, and that doesn't really exist in federal tax law. It happens, when you pay your council rates. And Albanese was worried. He had Keating and all these people in his ear saying, "You open that door, mate. You're opening you're going into a dangerous area because people will start claiming next thing you're going to do is, put the family home in the pension assets test and all this sort of stuff." The Prime Minister was worried about a scare campaign, and then they still remember what happened to them when they would try to go after franking credits in 2019. So he essentially, got the thing wound right back, and that's what they announced yesterday. So it was a bit of a humiliation for the Treasury. He had to come out and announce it. Well, the PM was somewhere in the Pacific with his fiancée having a week off.
When he was announcing it, Phil, I was thinking this obviously feels like a significant policy win for the opposition, for the Libs, and they've been few and far between. What was the last big policy win they've had before this?
Oh, the Libs?
Yeah.
Nothing. Oh, well, they haven't been in power for a while. So,
No, but I mean just forcing a backflip or managing to put enough pressure on.
The thing is, it probably wasn't really them because they were opposed to it, Will, but so was everyone else. And, the the Greens were happy to pass it, but it was really it was people like Philip Lowe, the former Reserve Bank governor, Ken Henry, former treasurer. I mean, anyone you talk to said it was bad. Paul Keating was just going bananas behind the scenes, working over the Prime Minister. Allegra Spender, who's everyone calls the most sensible teal. She was saying, well, you tax these unrealised gains and you're going to affect people who are investing in startups and venture capital and stuff like this. It was sort of well-meaning people who wished the Labor no harm, who had no political axe to grind against Labor, saying you can't be doing this. It's bad policy. So that was really what the Liberals. In politics, your opposition opposes most things, and so it really wasn't coming from them. They were just joining the pile. And I think Ted O'Brien, the Shadow Treasurer this morning, said this was a victory for what he called a coalition of common sense. It wasn't just us, it was, all these other people, the people I named, economists and experts. So it was really, they'll take the win, but I don't think you can give it to them, wholly.
When are you packing your bags for the next trip to the US, Phil?
I'm not going on this one because he's only there for 2 days, so we're a bit skint at the moment. So we're going to use our Washington correspondent. But the Treasurer, he is flying. When's he going? The Prime Minister is leaving Sunday, I think, and he'll be back. The meeting is Monday night our time, which is Monday in the US, and then he gets on the plane Tuesday and flies home. So he'll be back Thursday, and then he gets on the plane again on the weekend and flies off to the Korea, Malaysia, and Japan for a week. So,
hey, Phil, have you got a feeling that there's all this rare earth minerals malarkey with the US and China at the moment? It's good news for our bargaining position with Donald Trump?
It is, because the Prime Minister will be, when he meets Trump, he's going to have to put a couple of things in his face. He's going to mention, the defence spending. We already spend plenty on defence, so don't ask us for more. And the other thing is, we still want them to get rid of those tariffs. And the only leverage we've got on that is, to offer them secure, safe supply of critical minerals. There's other sort of risky ventures around the world like Ukraine and stuff. And I think, from what I hear, the Americans are just starting to sort of come around to this now, and China on Friday threatening to withhold their supply of critical minerals to the US has sharpened that view.
Great stuff as always, Phil. Phil Curry, the national political editor of the Australian Financial Review.
We're going to take a break. The Police Commissioner will join us in the 5AA Breakfast studio on the other side of 5AA News. We'll get the latest on the search for Gus Lamont.
The Garrett Adelaide Jamboree is back at the Bend, a turbocharged drag racing and car show festival with free kids entertainment this Saturday at Dragway at the Bend. Tickets and event info at jamboree.com.au.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Waiting for that perfect protein-packed, flavour-filled snack? We've built it for you. It's Biltong by Najobi deliciously seasoned beef strips. Runners need Najobi Biltong for protein. Adventurers need Najobi Biltong for lasting energy. Foodies need Najobi Biltong for flavour. And kids need Najobi Biltong for healthy snacks. It's air-dried, super soft and grown right here in SA. We've been farming since 1841, so yeah, we know beef. Najobi Biltong in supermarkets, service stations or at najobi.com.au.
All winter, your pool's been sleeping like a lazy teenager loaded with KFC. Now's the time to wake it up. Head to the Pool Supermarket at O'Halloran Hill. It's a mega pool store with everything you need to kickstart that pool for the best summer. Parts, accessories, toys, chemicals by the bag or pallet, including free water testing, maintenance and repairs. The Pool Supermarket literally sells everything, except pools. poolsupermarket.com.au.
When you think of single malt Scotch whisky, you might imagine Scotland's green hills, her fresh babbling brooks, and rows of oak barrels. But you can get the same feeling right here in Adelaide when you walk down the aisles at Powell's. Sam and Jamie from Parafield Airport Liquor Store know every drop on the shelf. They can guide you through Scotland's best whisky labels and the best from around the globe, all under one roof. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Powell's, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
A pedicure should feel good, and at Medipedi it does from the ground up. Medipedi combines the indulgent touch of beauty therapy with the trusted skills of podiatry, creating Adelaide's first medical pedicure. It's a treatment like no other. Your feet expertly cared for by a podiatrist, then pampered by one of Medipedi's trained beauty therapists. Because looking after yourself should feel exquisite right down to your toes. With 4 Adelaide locations, book now at medipediclinics.com.au. Medipedi, feel good from the ground up.
What makes Ray White the big name in business broking? They're people, like multi-time SA Business Broker of the Year, Brett Buckley, and his team of business professionals. They take a deep dive into your business, finding value and potential, and they know what they're looking for because they know businesses. They're not real estate salespeople trying to sell businesses, they're business people selling businesses. If you want to know what your business is worth, touch base with Brett. Search Ray White Business Sales SA. Multiple Business Broker of the Year awards.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
A possible morning shower and 21 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Chipped windscreen. RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
A new area outside the original search zone will be the focus as the hunt for Gus Lamont resumes today. The 4-year-old vanished on September 27 on a remote property near Yunta. Samantha Hogan from 9 News has told David and Will up to 100 police officers and Defence Force personnel are back on site.
Police still don't believe Gus's disappearance is suspicious at this stage, but major crime detectives have assured that they're still exploring all the possible scenarios. Police say that there continues to be close engagement with the Lamont family, who are continuing to assist with the investigation.
Today marks 7 weeks since the Paul Punker police shooting. Victoria's Chief Commissioner Mike Bush says it's a real frustration that Desi Freeman has not yet been found. It's not known if Freeman is dead or alive or at a location outside the original Paul Punker search zone. Police have received 1,400 tips from the public. There have been extraordinary scenes of joy and relief in the Middle East. 20 remaining Israeli hostages have returned home in exchange for 2,000 Palestinians being freed. US President Donald Trump received a hero's welcome before signing a peace deal with world leaders in Egypt. Political scientist Simon Jackman says the real test will be seeing if the ceasefire holds.
So much, I think, depends on these countries that today are united in lauding Donald Trump. Are they going to stump up with hard yards now, putting boots on the ground to ensure the peace holds?
The latest algal bloom support package has been described as a short-term Band-Aid solution. The state's fishing sector will receive a further $16 million in the form of grants for eligible businesses. Shadow Primary Industries Minister Nicola Centofanti admits it's better than nothing, but says it doesn't go far enough.
What they've been given is a continuation of an existing grant program, which many of them still haven't been able to access, and a token $3.5 million for a whole industry in resilience grants. Now, how exactly are fishers and operators meant to build resilience and capitalise on new opportunities if they can't even fish?
Australia Post will roll out more electric delivery vehicles from next month. Nationally, 500 will be introduced. Locally, they'll be at Camden Park, Modbury North, Gawler, Glynde and Lonsdale. Paul Graham from Australia Post says they have 4 times the capacity of their outgoing motorcycles.
This is a major step forward in continuing to modernise our network, allowing us to deliver more parcels to customers faster, and particularly ahead of the busy Christmas period.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide continues to quietly go about its trade business after signing up Will Brodie from Fremantle. Since his outstanding debut season for Freo in 2022, the 27-year-old's been unable to break into the Dockers senior lineup despite good form in the Waffle. He's hoping he can now make the most of his next opportunity at Alberton.
Just been trying to improve and stay ready for when an opportunity would come. And, you know, there's always that belief that that opportunity will come at some stage, but unfortunately it never really did. It's been a long few years, mate, so this sort of fresh start is something that I'm super looking forward to.
Meantime, Adelaide is still working to try to get a deal done for Callum Archie from Brisbane. Well, the new Socceroos captain has his hands full with the spirited Nestor Irankunda. The Watford forward scored the winner against Canada but was also involved in a fiery confrontation Alessandro Ciccardi says the 19-year-old can make life a nightmare for defenders.
His way of playing can be quite, can irritate players. With his speed, he can take you 1v1, put it in the space, and maybe you're forced to foul him. That irritates players.
Australia will take on the USA tomorrow in a friendly. Well, Joe Rootie's shouldering the responsibility for his team's success or failure in the upcoming Ashes series, admitting he feels free of the pressure after relinquishing the captaincy. And it's now 3-3 in the bottom of the third inning between the Seattle Mariners and Toronto Blue Jays. That's in Game 2 of their best-of-7 series. The Mariners currently lead that series 1-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Morning there, a bit of a dog's breakfast on the roads this morning. Got a multi-car smash getting cleaned up at Croydon Park, north-south motorway near Pym Street. Another two-car collision, this one's at Crafers West. The freeway down track near the tunnels, delays inbound. And Norwood Urgent Sewer Works, Fullerton Road near Rundle Street. If you're out and around near Mallala at the moment, there's a truck and semi-rollover to look out for. Mallala Road near Gordon Road. And got an early morning camera, Montague Road at Cavan. At Spotlight's mega sale, save 30% off a huge selection, ends tonight. At Spotlight, it's what you make it. Discounts apply to regular product prices. T's and C's apply. See website for details. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA weather, 21 today, a possible morning shower, sunny tomorrow 29, Thursday a possible thunderstorm 28, and back to 21 and partly cloudy on Friday. Right now it's 13 degrees on 5AA, always Adelaide.
Take on the next chapter in the new Mazda CX-60 G25 Pure. Now yours from $47,990 drive away. Designed to make every drive effortless. It's ready for wherever the road takes you. Head to your local Mazda dealership and get behind the wheel of the refined Mazda CX-60 G25 Pure. Look forward to it. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. See Mazda.com.au for details.
Living with diabetes? Ditch finger pricks with Freestyle Libre. Freestyle Libre is a small wearable sensor that monitors your glucose levels and trends and sends them straight to your phone. Instant, up-to-date feedback. No finger pricks. How good is that? And you can trial Freestyle Libre for only $15. Just head to freestylelibre.com.au to find out how. T's and C's apply. Follow directions for use. Read warnings before purchase. Free yourself from finger pricks with Freestyle Libre.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 minutes to 9. If you're watching along on the Facebook or YouTube live stream, you'll note we've been joined in the 5AA Breakfast studio by the Police Commissioner, Grant Stevens. Commissioner, good morning to you.
Morning, Will. Morning, David.
The big developing news late yesterday was that the search had resumed for Gus Lamont, the property at Yunta. Police expanding the search zone. Can you give us any insight as to how that came about? Why? Was there extra information?
Well, sadly, we're talking about a recovery operation now. We're still looking for Gus. That's really important to the family, and it's important to us as well, and for everybody who's been involved. And this is essentially just exploring every possibility. So the Australian Defence Force have been excellent. We've got 80 ADF personnel up on the property this morning, being coordinated by field search controllers that are police officers with South Australia Police, really just making sure that we leave no stone unturned. And just to give you some sense of the scale of this search operation, it's over 470 square kilometres searched. Now, the CBD of Adelaide, the square mile, is about 4 square kilometres. So we're talking like 109 CBDs, South Terrace, North Terrace, East and West. That is a massive search area, and we've had intensive searches being conducted since Gus was reported missing, using police officers, ADF, volunteers, SES, just technology. We've been using infrared drones, Polair has been up searching the property as well. So we've done everything we can based on expert advice in relation to where we should be searching. But this is just making sure that, as I said, we leave no stone unturned.
Is there any suspicion, Commissioner, of foul play? Because some people might look at the reopening of the search and think, well, maybe the police have some theories.
No. There's the family are cooperating with the police inquiry. We have nothing to suggest foul play at this time, but we're obligated to consider every possibility, and we do that. But our efforts are focused on comprehensively searching the property, and we're endeavouring to recover Gus for his family.
So, just let me be clear. So, will there be a sort of ongoing task force set up?
Well, glad you mentioned that. We have actually established a task force Horizon, which is comprised of a group of specialists that will continue to investigate the circumstances around Gus's disappearance. It's got expert field search coordinators, it's got data analysts, it's got other experts comprising this team and investigators. We'll continue the work until we can bring this to a resolution.
So that'll be an ongoing thing, open-ended?
At this stage, as with every policing operation, we'll reassess the viability of the task force as we move along, but at the moment we've got a dedicated team that will continue looking into the circumstances.
This feels like a case that's very much been a pretty ordinary introduction to what life's like online in 2025. When you get a major crime like this that lots of people are interested in, we've had artificial intelligence used to generate photographs. We've had theories running like wildfire. Do you see that, and are you just disappointed as a normal citizen, or as the police commissioner, have you seen some of what's going on and been concerned about what it means about trying to solve crime into the future?
Well, I'll just go back one step. We're not classifying this as a crime.
Sorry, not a crime, a missing person.
Missing person search. And obviously there are questions that people formulate. It's disappointing, but it's also frustrating from a policing point of view because it generates unnecessary lines of inquiry for police to follow up, and we're trying to provide factual information that keeps people informed. This is a public interest story, so people have a right to be updated, but they need to be updated with facts. And AI-generated images and false stories are not helpful. They can be quite disruptive to the investigation process.
And pretty harrowing for the family too, needless to say.
You put yourself in the family's shoes. And I'm sure everybody speculates about what's happened to Gus, but to share those online, it's hurtful. It really is hurtful. And we're just focusing on making sure that no stone is left unturned.
Have you had the police divers out again for the dams?
We've comprehensively searched all the dams on the property using police divers, and we went back based on a possible indicator of one location with a dam nearby might have been worthy of a further search, but nothing was found.
When you say unnecessary lines of inquiry, is there incidents of people sending AI-generated stuff to police that you've had to then investigate?
Well, we've had, I think, something like 150 Crime Stoppers actions received by South Australia Police. And as I said, we're conducting a search of the property, which is about 43 kilometres out of Yunta. So Crime Stoppers actions relate to suspicions about criminal behaviour. And as I've said, we are focused on recovering Gus at this point in time. We will look at all lines of inquiry, but 150 Crime Stoppers actions, as much as we are grateful for information, if it's based on speculation or false information, then that's not helpful, and we're obligated to follow those up.
Is the search solely contained within the family's property?
I don't know the specifics of where the property boundary lies, but we've consulted experts in relation to the capability of a small child in terms of the distance that could be covered. We've also been consulting with survivability experts and medical experts that have given us key information that would formulate how far from the homestead we will conduct the search and the directions that we should be heading. And the work we're doing now, using the ADF over the next couple of days, is essentially expanding that, to sort of negate any possibility that maybe Gus got further than we thought he possibly could.
I always wonder what your facial expression is doing when we talk about speed camera placement on breakfast. Yesterday, the RAA put out some analysis, and our listeners were quick to point out a couple of the real hotspots that are potentially, in a budgetary sense, quite lucrative, happen to be in places where there was either a changed speed limit or at the bottom of a hill. What's the matrix that goes into where police put cameras, and how much of it is inspired by or motivated by a desire to raise money?
The budget revenue from speed cameras is not a motivating factor for the placement of speed cameras, and I'm pretty sure about 99.9% of people out there won't believe me when I say that. The placement is about road safety. It's based on crash data and other incidents and offence rates. So there is a formula that is used to determine, and there are some just key principles like the new initiative to place speed cameras near school zones. That's a no-brainer. That's about protecting kids at those key times. And if a speed camera is at the bottom of a hill, the speed limit doesn't become void because you're going downhill. You're capable of controlling your vehicle, and you shouldn't be letting it get away from you. That's just the reality of driving. So it's not a revenue-based decision, but the reality is some locations do generate more revenue because of people's driving behaviour in those locations.
Commissioner, pretty sure it was last week, maybe it was the week before, but ICAC finally released its findings into the reopening of the investigation into you firing your gun. What was the actual, what's it called, accidental discharge? Or?
Yes, yeah. I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. So, that was last week.
You say that with a sort of droll manner. You didn't really expect the worst.
No, I was quite comfortable that the incident was never the subject of a cover-up. And I've seen the police file that related to the incident 34 years ago when I accidentally fired my pistol.
Where was it? In Elizabeth, wasn't it?
In the northern suburbs,
right.
Doing a drug raid. There was never a cover-up. I was quite surprised at the level of inquiry and documentation that was attached to the event itself.
So you got to see the original report as part of the investigation?
Well, we had to dig that up and provide it to, internal investigations within SAPOL started the investigation, and then ICAC, and I understand their obligations to do this, took it over. The only frustration, I suppose, or the disappointment is that, they've had to spend time doing this because of an allegation that there was a cover-up that never occurred. So,
and it was only one shooting, not two?
It was only one.
Yeah.
I have been accused of being a slow learner, but not when it comes to accidentally discharging your firearm. So, you only do that once.
Yeah. Is there any charge or offence related to making a spurious complaint to Police Internal Affairs?
Oh, there would. Yeah, there can be consequences for anyone who does make a false complaint.
Do you think this would meet that criteria?
Well, you just don't know. Like, I don't know the source of the information that was provided to the advertiser, and if the person makes that allegation believing it to be genuine, then that's a different thing. But if it's done for ulterior motives, then that would potentially have consequences for the person.
Now, we want you to leave. We'll let you go on a good news story. The South Australian Police have represented South Australian footy very well, I understand.
Yes. We've had the National Police Football Carnival here in Adelaide over the last few days, and the South Australia Hounds took out the championship, and we were also really well represented by our women's team, who didn't quite take out the championship, but did a pretty good job against a couple of the other states. So, a great week for footy, and great to see all these police officers and other staff from policing agencies right across Australia come together. It's just a really good event played in the right spirit.
Yeah.
It's, you see these people going hard at each other on the field, but you see a South Australian player pulling up a Victorian player that they've put to the deck, and patting each other on the back and running off. It was good to watch.
Who said State of Origin was dead?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Well, always love having you in. Commissioner Grant Stevens, thanks for your time. We'll catch up again soon.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we're going to check traffic and come back shortly on 5AA Breakfast. Help Australians waiting to access critical medicines by visiting strongerpbs.com.au for more information.
Bit of a schmozzle on the roads this morning. Got a crash at Marden, Lower Porterace Road and Paynham Road. Croydon Park, a multi-car smash there on the north-south motorway near Pym Street. Two-car collision getting cleaned up at the moment at Crafers West on the freeway. It's just near the tunnel with some delays inbound. And a bit on the nose at Norwood with urgent sewer works, Fullerton Road near Rundle Street. Cameras, Days Road, Croydon Park and Main North Road at Enfield. Exclusive Hot Wheels have arrived at Drake's. Get one free with every $60 you spend. Drake's, ingredients for race days. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Fluorio Milk Company will always put SA first, and you can too. When you reach for milk, reach for Fluorio Milk Company products and support our dairy farmers and their families. we guarantee that all our milk is 100% South Australian and it's always fresh. We have over 24 refrigerated trucks shipping Fluorio milk to cafes, restaurants and supermarkets all over SA. Look for the local in your supermarket. Fluorio Milk Company. We're for SA dairy farmers.
Is stress making your muscles tense and your nights restless? Caruso's new Super Magnesium plus Ashwagandha to the rescue. With 6 forms of magnesium, Caruso's Super Magnesium plus Ashwagandha supports muscle relaxation, relieves symptoms of stress and promotes deep sleep. So if you're tired of tense muscles and sleepless nights and can't wait for calm, comfort and peaceful relaxation, try Caruso's Super Magnesium plus Ashwagandha today. From leading pharmacies and health stores, always read the label and follow the directions for use.
You don't just do a good barbie, you're the tong master. You're not just flipping snags. You've earned the title Backyard Hospitality Director, so you deserve the very best outdoor kitchen from Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens.
Choose from the best appliances at a bar fridge or a pizza oven, or stun your guests with one of their custom-made concrete bench tops. They do indoor concrete bench tops too. These handmade bench tops can really update any kitchen space, custom-made for you. Every piece unique, especially for you.
Call for a consultation and quote today or visit the Seaford Meadows showroom on Farrow Circuit. The best backyard hospitality directors choose Adelaide Outdoor Kitchens. Go to adelaideoutdoorkitchens.com.au.
Tired of rising power bills? What if you could eliminate power bills forever? With NRG Solar, the new cheaper home batteries program gives eligible homes and businesses up to 30% off the cost of a new home battery, saving you thousands. NRG Solar has the know-how to help you claim the rebate and design a system that delivers real long-term value. Own your energy, own your future. Call 1300 858 160, that's 1300 858 160, or visit nrgsolar.com.au now.
At Coles, stock up and chock up on great half-price chocolate treats. Like half-price Cadbury Dairy Milk Block Chocolate, 150 to 190 grams, now just $4. Shop in store or online at Coles. Offer ends Tuesday.
There's surprisingly big offers at Hyundai, like the Tucson from $39,990 drive away. Visit your participating Hyundai dealer today.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 to 9, little spots of rain out in Adelaide at the moment. Also a bit of traffic issue. Darcy called us a short time ago. Accident on Portrush Road, Marden, causing delays for southbound. One of the lanes was blocked due to a car being stuck there. I think the most interactive moment we've had on the program this morning was talking housing prices after 7:30 today. Damien in Craigburn Farms called in on that topic. Damien, good morning to you.
G'day, guys. Will, I just thought your comment about your experience going to that auction was quite poignant, insofar as any discussion around trying to modify and taking the heat out of the property market. That is changed to, the taxation of capital gains as well as, negative gearing. Then kicks in this sense of entitlement. Oh no, you can't touch that. But the reality is, those sort of structural changes will really need to happen over time in order for us to be able to, for it to be a level playing field for people to access the residential property market. That I find is quite ironic, unfortunately.
Yeah,
the entitlement that everyone has to what they've got, similar to the case about the additional tax on superannuation balances. The irony is that people with large, substantial balances have actually got the money inside super due to a tax discount. So they've already received a huge discount, and now the government needs to broaden the tax base. Everyone's crying foul. There needs to be a greater level playing field, I think, for everyone.
Well, there was a fascinating bit of data that came out earlier in the week. A poll was done about Australia's attitudes to housing prices. That it really tells the story. Everyone thinks it's too high and it's unfair on younger people. Every single group of people by voting intention said they'd like to see housing prices go up when asked, would you like to see them go up or down?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is the quandary at the moment. This is the equivalent in America when they did polling about the manufacturing sector. 80% of Americans would like to see manufacturing return to the United States in a big way. I'm sure it's the same here. 20% of Americans said they'd like to work in a factory.
Well, the other question you could throw into that is, how much do you want to pay for a standard gas burner barbecue? Because thinking about the way the world has changed in the last 30 years, the first time I got married, a whole bunch of my mates chipped in and bought me a 4-burner beef eater gas barbecue, because that's how expensive barbecues were in 1994. Now, in the days of Temu Shop Like a Billionaire, the idea of paying $1,000 for an entry-level 4-burner barbecue is laughable. You can get one for $150 these days. And the reason you can, China.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, this is the reason why you can get on any of those websites, where you can go into Bunnings. What percentage of items sold in Bunnings would be made in China, do you think? 70%?
Yeah, at
80%?
least. Yeah, probably more like 80%.
Maybe 95%. So if you say to people, okay, yep, we're gonna bring back manufacturing and all the steel works and all the, you know, all the factories are going to reopen, but you're going to pay American wages, or you're going to pay Australian wages, and you're going to pay penalty rates, and you're going to have long service leave and all these other things that don't exist in China. Hey presto, the end result, you're paying $1,000 for a 4-burner barbecue.
Yeah. So
again,
the alternative, I think the dream scenario to make houses more affordable is people will earn more. But you look at the rate of wages growth in Australia over the last 25 years, and that's just a nut no one's been able to crack recently. So we remain hopeful on that front. But otherwise, pick your poison, Australia, which seemed to be, to Damien's point, and indeed that polling.
Our good mate Rob makes a different point. He says, when I see houses these days, it's depressing. There's no yard to play backyard cricket in, no space to grow your tomatoes or to grow a lemon tree. It's as if you're just in a cement box these days. Well, I think part of that is the way of the world, isn't it? I'm sure, 50 years ago you could buy a 1/4-acre block in Sao Paulo and then they suddenly realised that they had, 17 million people living there.
A little bit earlier in the morning, it wasn't houses we were talking about, but it was places to do your Year 12 exams, the worst places. We were intrigued to learn that we have official South Australian SACE exams going on, not just in South Australia, but in the Northern Territory, in China, in Vanuatu. And we got thinking, what were the best and worst places you could do an exam? Sandy in West Lakes is the winner for calling in a little bit earlier. And Sandy, you've got a food and beverage voucher. Taste the flavours of Asia at Lucky Dumpling Market, Adelaide's springtime food and entertainment hub, 17th of October to 9th of November. Visit luckydumplingmarket.com. We'll just check fuel too before we go. Better to be a member with RAA Road Service. Petrol is pretty good at the moment. If you need to fill up, today is a good day to do it. The Yugo on Port Road at West Hindmarsh is at $1.54.9. The Ampol Noarlunga Centre, $1.59.9. The BP X Convenience Waterloo Corner Road Burton, $1.59.9. And diesel, not bad either. In fact, just under that mid $1.60 range now. The Solo Victoria Road at Taparoo is as good as we've been able to see it at $1.64.5.
I like the text from Dave from Alberton saying if he was going to find a nice quiet place to do his exams, he would have booked Adelaide Oval probably on preliminary final weekend because there was nothing going on there.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been a safe place this recent seasons. All right. That's all from us on this Tuesday morning. Stick around for Graham Goodings and we'll catch you tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock.
Coming up next on 5AA, the stories that matter to Adelaide with 5AA Mornings.